All right, what's going on, everybody? We got Bad Dog himself. Uh, how many years has it been for you, Dog? Now I'm going on 18 years here on YouTube. I
Let's
know, I
see.
know there was a gap. I know there's a gap that you stopped, but how many
Yeah,
years combined is it now for you being on YouTube? Because man, you've been here for a while, for a long
so
time as well.
I came in late 2007, like right before the playoffs. That's when I
You are
found,
you,
you know,
you were you making? Did you make
I,
content?
I was not, I didn't make content. I started, like, I found the TTC.
Yeah.
I want to say November. I found one of your videos, and I remember
Mhm.
you and Jaywad. Like, you're the two guys I
Yeah.
remember.
I'm
And I
I'm
remember
I
seeing you
just
with, I say it all the time. You had the headset on, and
yeah,
what you told me was like a broken
yeah, it
PlayStation.
was, it was.
And I was like, man, I'm like, I would love to freaking do that. And then I saw Jaywad and he was talking shit. I'm like, man, I can talk shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
why am I not doing this? So I started making videos like in the 2008 off, like before the season
Mhm.
started. And so I was there from 2007 to like 2009. And then I left for 5 years, and I've been here since 2014. So shit, that's 13 years. So it's been a
Yeah,
while.
but you know what's great, and I try to tell people this, and I'm not trying to reminisce or anything, but even when you joined, you didn't have a lot of things that were an example. Like, I might have been an example to you, but, like, for me, like, there wasn't a whole lot of
Right.
examples, so the generation of today, like, I joined when I was 21 years old.
Yep.
And so a 21-year-old now has tons of examples that they can go on, look on YouTube of what they would like to, how they would like to do their channel. And they
Mhm.
can look at others and be like, oh, I can just kind of not necessarily copy that person, but I can just use them as an example of how I would like my channel to be run.
Mhm.
And, that's what was crazy about when we first started was that, you know, there was, you were just, it was like the Wild West. You're just making
It
your own
was.
kind of,
Yeah.
you're just like making you don't even know what's good and what's you're supposed to do. And so much of what you do now, and when you do like the broadcasts and stuff,
Yep.
and by the way, I was shocked that you're doing Indiana Fever games now. Which is
Well,
fun. Which, by the way, I'm in my Indiana Fever era as well. I like
I
to watch.
gotcha.
I like to watch them. But
Yeah.
but I say that because s- that that style of the broadcast is like that. If I would have known to be that when my first, that was what I would have done immediately from the start. Like,
Right.
I would have never done the trash talking thing. Like, looking back
Yep.
on it, I would have just said, "Oh, let me just go on and be just playfully be a broadcaster." Like on YouTube, kind of, try to get like a not necessarily a network, but like a community that would listen to me, having fun watching whatever it is that I'm watching. Cause I mean, mainly all I do is watch sports. And
Right.
so it's funny now looking back on it, if I was 21 now joining YouTube, I would just probably do broadcasting. Like, that's probably what I would do. But now my channel is so embedded into the
Right.
Pizzle trash talking thing and that's just it's what I gotta do. And so every so often I'll dip my toes into the broadcasting thing just for funsies, but that's what, looking at it now, it's like what I see what you do. Um, man, I would have done that from the start if I'd even had that idea in my mind.
Yeah, it's fun. But the thing with the Fever was a couple of my subscribers were like, "You should do Fever games." I think I did one and
Yeah.
a half, and I was just like, I just wasn't into it. Like, I
But
really couldn't.
you like basketball though.
I love basketball. I
That's
just
what
couldn't get into that. That was
but
the thing. Like, I like to do things I like to do, and I like to try different things. But I'm like, I'm just that. I just wasn't really passionate about that,
yeah.
so I didn't do it. But I've always wanted to be a broadcaster. Like, that's what I
Mhm.
wanted to do. I just never pursued it. And when I saw, I think it was a Sports Tree broadcast, and I was like, man, I'm like, why am I not doing this? Like, why am
Yeah.
I not doing play by play? My wife always told me I missed my calling about, being a broadcaster. I'm like, this
Yeah.
gives me the opportunity to do it from home where I don't have to travel all over the world, all over the country. I can do it with my own style. I don't need to censor myself. I can
Mhm.
swear. I can say the refs suck. I can be biased. I can do whatever. I don't got to worry about getting fired. It's my channel. So, it just, that was meant to be. I do remember though, I never forget where I came from. And that's, why I love chopping it up with you and talking Giants football. I still remember all the guys, like you said, when it was the Wild Wild West. Back in the day, there was no thumbs up, thumbs down. It was a star rating system.
Yeah.
I remember and Cobb, you remember this, and I hate that it's not there anymore. They had a reply button under the video, so you could click reply and actually reply to the video maker with a video, so they knew you were replying to them. And it is crazy how,
like, you could, even someone like you could still use that.
Right.
If Philly 500, for example, made a video and brought your name up, just, not necessarily track, but just, the, bad dog stinking Giants. And this is why you could reply to that. And it not have to be a trash talk. You could, but it would just be like, okay, why is Bad Dog replying to Philly 500? Let me go see what it is that Philly 500 said. And to me, I guess, maybe it's because of the popularity of some content creators that they're, they would, like, if I guess the Beast, or what's his name, Mr. Beast, or whoever, like, if he made a video, I'm sure they get a million replies. But I don't know what it is, but I do miss that part of YouTube having that reply in there. I do miss that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it was much different. There was no OBS, there was no StreamYard, there was none of this. There was a stick cam, but it wasn't like this. I was just mostly somebody with a kind of like, it was a video format with people chatting, but it wasn't connected to YouTube. It was something totally different. So, man, those are fun days. Much fun because the Giants were really fucking good back then.
I know.
I know.
Now, of course, the Giants had to be good when YouTube was in the Wild West.
Of course.
I mean, I was even looking, dog, like YouTube. If you go back and you look at like music videos, like just like a lot of like music videos didn't get uploaded till like 2009.
Right.
Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like YouTube really didn't take off until like 2009, 2010, where even I don't even know when the Giants officially made their YouTube profile. Like it was a while, but like my point being is if you were here 06, 07, 08, you were in a time of like YouTube's not is very much an underground thing. Yeah. And so it's crazy to think that now like YouTube is basically people's form of entertainment all the time, like it is crazy. And that's why it is, when you look at like the broadcasting format, it's like that's why there is a popularity to it, because some people would rather watch this, or it's easier for them to be on YouTube than just to be, going looking for the game or whatever the case may be,
Yep. I think part of it also, not only that, but when you get fans of a certain team, you're getting their personality. Like you, like I said, we don't need to be censored. We can be unbiased. We can speak our mind. We don't need to be like,
we have the ability to, if you
want to be politically correct for, lack of a better term, we can say whatever the hell we want to. And I think a lot of people find that entertaining because you can't get that on ESPN, where you're just saying a bunch of stuff. So
let me bring this up before we get talking to the Giants here. I saw on I think it was Instagram, Alex Rodriguez.
Oh, Twitter.
Was it Twitter?
Well, on Instagram, yes, he messaged me. Yeah.
Where was it?
He messaged me on Instagram. He DM'd me on Instagram.
Yeah, no, it was on Instagram. Yeah. So you had messaged him first, right?
So that was a long time ago. The message to him, I think it says the date's 2021, and all it is he had a story about collecting baseball cards, and I said I'm a collector too. Now he didn't respond to that. That's not what he was responding to. So it was Saturday night. It's 12:30 in the morning, and I'm just I'm sitting up. My kid's up. We're just sitting on the couch. I'm just going through my social media. I'm going through Twitter, and I see a DM in my Instagram. I'm like, oh, who's this? And it says I mean, what the hell does it say? I can tell you exactly what it says.
But I mean, it's Alex Rodriguez.
Yeah, it says been enjoying your YouTube post because the Yankees had two really shitty games in a row. And I don't do Yankee post games but when I get really mad about them, I just got to bet.
They're struggling right now.
They are. So I do 2 videos, and he says, been enjoying your YouTube post games. Keep up the good work, my man. Spot on. And it says A-Rod. Now, I'm not thinking it's really A-Rod. I'm thinking, okay, it's a fan account or whatever. I'm going to click on it. He has 400 followers and whatever.
Yeah.
And I click on it, and I'm like, holy shit, that's Alex Rodriguez. I started going, no way. My kid's like, what, Dad? I'm like, Alex Rodriguez just told me he likes my post-game videos.
Yeah.
And he goes, who's Alex Rodriguez? I gotta tell him A-Rod is. But I'm like, what the hell? Then we had a little conversation about the Yankees. And then the very next day, he said, another gutless performance. He goes, when are you doing your video? And I'm like, holy shit. And then he followed me on Instagram. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, that's fucking
awesome.
Alex Rodriguez. It's one thing to watch my videos, but to reach out and tell me it was good. I'm like, I don't give a fuck what any haters say about me. Now, I got his endorsement. I don't even know shit. I was a fangirl. I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty crazy.
I am not. Listen, I know there's a lot of people that talk shit about A-Rod, and like the same people probably talk shit about Barry Bonds,
right?
And I understand the steroids and all that, but like I've always thought A-Rod was cool. Like I never was an A-Rod hater. You know, I was a Jeter hater. I'll be honest. I never was a big fan of Jeter, but A-Rod I was never really anti A-Rod. And so, but with that being said, like when I saw that, like it made me think, and I'm not saying for myself, but you always have to wonder who the hell is watching,
right?
Like you just never know.
You never know.
If there's a giant player watching or a Yankee play, like I firmly believe that, you know, if the content is good enough, people are gonna find you. I mean, these guys are humans too. Like they've got YouTube as well. Like,
yeah, they like to be entertained too, you know.
Well, that's why to me it's so important to keep content creators a little bit in check because you know, I hate narratives that get spun out there, you know, or get told. Which is why I when I was thinking of all the people that I could have a conversation with, I wanted to bring you on to have this conversation because, you know, I'm passionate about the Giants. I know you like the Giants. I know you're a Giants fan too. And this offseason has been really interesting to me.
Yeah.
And obviously we're in the middle of training camp, and Russell Wilson, there seems to be this amongst content creators. And I often think that the content creators kind of speak a little bit for the fans. Does that make sense? Like if there's enough content creators that feel a certain way, that means the fan base probably feels that way similar as well. There's going to be some, you know, and I don't want to bring up Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones had his supporters and had his non-supporters, right?
Right.
So there's a honeymoon phase right now with Russell Wilson.
Yep.
And I'm a 30+ year Giants fan. I know that the honeymoon phase only lasts for so long. And I am listening to content creators, Bad Dog. And one of them in particular, you do business with, Anthony from Fireside Giants, who I'm just, let me tell you what. I'm just not a big Fireside Giants guy, Bad Dog. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I understand you're in bed with them, so I don't, you know, no pause, but I understand. I understand, but some of the stuff that gets said kills me because, first of all, if you've been watching football the last however long Russell's been in the league, 14 years, I believe it's been.
Yeah,
Russ has always been a leader guy. He's always been that guy. And by the way, because he's a baseball guy, I've always respected Russ because I'm truth be told, I enjoy baseball. So I always thought it was great.
Right.
I always thought it was great. Like even that's what I do enjoy about Mahomes is the baseball aspect to him and how he brings that style to quarterback play, which is why I like Russ is that he brings that kind of style to him. But everybody's like, oh, well, you know, he's a leader, like, and of course, all the players are going to say nice things because he's the quarterback of the team. Like, I don't like not these backhanded comments about the previous guy is so to me unnecessary in the content making of what we're doing here. Like Russ, it has been Everywhere Russ has been, he's been a cheerful leader everywhere he's been. It's not so this just because some guy was quiet, for example, Daniel was quiet, and Eli was too. Like Eli wasn't a rah-rah guy. Russ has just been a rah-rah. That's who he is in his to me, it's not
That's
like
personality, yeah.
It's his personality. So to me, it's not like, oh, well, the Giants finally have a leader at quarterback. I just think that's a silly debate to even have. And furthermore on that, Bad Dog, do you honestly really what can Russ really do for us in this season that won't make the fans turn their back on him, which the way they feel right now? Right now, dog, Russell Wilson can do no wrong. But you and I both know that if he was to lose game 1 to the Commanders and he loses game 2 of the Cowboys, the seat gets extremely hot on Monday Night Football against the Chiefs.
Yep.
And the comments that's being made right now about, his moonball is beautiful. He's such a leader. That goes right out the window Monday night against the Chiefs if you're 0-2. So correct me if I'm wrong in saying that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, how do you win? I mean, fans are sick and tired of losing. This team has been just woeful. I mean, it's hard to be a Giants fan right now. Like, of course, Eagle fans are coming out of the woodwork. It's easy to do this shit when you're on top. It's easy to come out and make content. It's easy to do it every freaking week. But when you're 3-12 and you're getting your brains beat in by the Cowboys, by the Eagles, and you have to come on here and make content, it sucks. It sucks to own up to the music, but they got to win. I just think with Russ, he just brings a different.
Can you win with Russ?
What's that?
Can you win? Because here's another issue that has not been talked about, dog, is that you watch training camp clips and you see like Malik Neighbors makes a nice play, right? And then you wonder like, well, did Russ have extra time because he has got the red jersey on?
Right.
I am still concerned about the offensive line.
I am too.
And nobody talks about it, dog. No content creators even bringing it up. They're over there, their mouth is drooling watching Abdul Carter.
Mine is
I know he looks fantastic, but here's my thing, dog. Is he going to look fantastic against the Commanders? Is he going to look fantastic against the Cowboys?
Yes.
Because I'm hopeful too, but I'm also hopeful that he's just not looking fantastic because the guys that are trying to block him aren't that good right now.
The way I look at it is this: when I'm watching Abdul Carter, I want him to dominate our offensive line because he was the 3rd pick in the draft. He's supposed to do that. Like if Marcus Bowe was shutting him down, I'd be concerned that our 5th round tackle is shutting down our best player, like our number 1 pick in the draft. I want to see him dominate. Now, is he going to dominate all season long? I mean, who knows? We're going to have to wait and see. I'm anxious to see him play Saturday. But, man, his bend, his first step, his spin, he's got so many moves. He really is insane. And when you pair him with Brian Burns and you pair him with Dexter Lawrence, who are you going to double team? This is why, to me, Kayvon Thibodeau is very important this year. He's going to see a lot of one-on-ones. And, he's kind of been up and down. He's had really good games. He's had really bad games. And the fan, I don't really know. I still think Kayvon's going to have a big year. I still believe in Kayvon.
I'm a Kayvon. Yes.
I think he's having double-digit sacks this year. I really do. I think he's going to take advantage of this. He knows there's competition there now, Cop, and I think competition's good.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good thing to have some competition. I think he has it. I think Deonte Banks has it in Cordell Flat. And I think Deonte Banks, if he could ever learn to locate the ball, he'd be such a good corner. He's got a great cover corner, but he loses track of the ball. And with how good the receivers are in this league, they're going to make the play because their body balance, their catch radius, their hands. I mean, you've seen it. They're incredible athletes. So if you're not locating the ball and you're playing the receiver's going to make a play on the ball. I like the competition, but I say it all the time when we do that show, which, by the way, that's not our show. Like that's a media company that does that. We're just on there. That's not even.
You're in bed with Anthony.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do the show with him. Yes.
He stinks.
But
go ahead.
But I brought up the line a lot. That is definitely our biggest question mark. A healthy Andrew Thomas goes a long way in making the line better. But
Yeah.
I've said this before.
Yes.
You take Andrew Thomas away, and it's like pulling a block out of a Jenga tower, and it just completely collapses without him. You hope Evan Neal can step up and be a good guard. You hope that Illuminor continues to play well at right tackle. You hope you get good play from Runyon. The guy I'm really concerned about, Cobb, is John Michael Schmitz. He's getting bullied. He hasn't really improved at all, and he's the center. And when you're trying to run the football, you kind of need that push up the middle, and he's not really giving it. So I don't really know. He kind of
but this is what I'm talking about, dog, because I feel like, and look, again, I do not want to make this about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is in Indianapolis trying to earn a starting job. Like I'm past Daniel Jones. My issue is that, to me, one of the things that was broken about this team and has been close to almost a decade has been the offensive line play.
Yeah.
It's been pitiful. It's been off. Now, I would argue, dog, that the offensive line play is what got Daniel Jones out there in the first place. Because, even on the back end of Eli's career,
it was terrible.
It was terrible for him because he's not being protective. He couldn't be mobile. He couldn't move around. So when Daniel did get in there, he at least had some mobility, and, he exercised that mobility at times. And I would also argue that, some of Daniel's time getting hurt was because he was having to run for his life, which obviously, to me, hurt his growth as a quarterback, because when you spend half the year on the IR or, rehabbing an injury, you're not getting better at quarterback.
Right.
You're just not. You got a bad groin because you're running for your life. You're concussed because you're trying to run for your life again. And it's, to me, the Giants organization, because they didn't fix the offensive line, broke, the end of Eli and the start of Daniel. That's honestly what I believe. Whether they're good players or not is irrelevant to me, because now we fast forward, and it feels like, to me, I don't know how you feel, but it feels like this is the start of Eli again. When we had Kurt Warner, and then Eli got drafted. Well, here we have Russell Wilson. I'm not saying Kurt Warner and Russell Wilson are the same player.
Yeah, I know what you're getting.
That's a Super Bowl champion quarterback, right? And you've also got here now a rookie quarterback, which just so happens to be from Ole Miss. So to me, the Giants are kind of running back that 2004, that 2004 when Eli showed up. And if you remember, Kurt kind of had some success, and then they eventually got Eli in there. And Eli didn't look great when he first got out there.
Yeah.
I mean, he did not look great. And so the point being is that here we have, Russ out there. And if Russ gets hurt because the offensive line isn't playing well, I mean, is Dart going to be there? Is Winston going to be there? Who's going to be the guy that steps up? And obviously, I don't want Dart, even though I'm pro Dart, and I actually think that Dart could have a really nice career for the Giants. Maybe I'm being biased again. I enjoyed watching him play for Ole Miss, but I kind of, looking back at the Daniel Jones experience, I feel like us rushing him on the field was part of the problem, and the fan base is a part of that. And instead of the fan base saying, "Hey, let's just let Eli play this last year," not even say anything about it. We rushed him out there. We wanted him out there. He teased us with the Buck game, right? Instantly with Pat Shurmur. They teased us a little bit, and so now the expectations ramp up, right? And I just don't want that to happen to Dart. I don't want Dart to be in this position where he has to be out there because the fan base is demanding it. Brian Dable has to make a move to try to save his job. I want this all to work. But the thing that's not being talked about, to me, amongst the content creators, is the offensive line play. I mean, is Andrew Thomas, is he going to be healthy or not? Do we have a problem? Does he have a problem long-term with his foot? Is JMS going to, and look, I mean, that guy has to go against Dexter Lawrence. Imagine waking up.
Yeah, I know.
You got to
It's not an easy task.
I mean, Dexter Lawrence is, that's another frustrating thing, dog, and I hate to bounce around, but we have a great player in Dexter Lawrence.
Yes, we do.
Like an awesome player.
Yep.
And he is on a team that is top 5 in the draft. I mean, that's not even fair to him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have this awesome player who should have world recognition in the National Football League, and he's barely talked about because the Giants aren't talked about because they're
Right.
not winning.
Yep.
You know? So but to go back to the O-line, dog, it's like, man, I just don't hear enough people talking about, is this offensive line really going to do its job this season?
Yeah, I'll say this. With Daniel Jones, I mean, I criticized Jones and I was fair to Jones so much so I always go back to this one video. I don't remember what video it was, but in the comment section, I had one guy telling me I'm nothing but a Daniel Jones homer. And in the same video, I did have a guy tell me I'm a Daniel Jones hater. Daniel Jones, in my opinion, lacked time. He was not good with timing. His instincts were poor. But I also understand the Giants really set him up to fail. Daniel Jones had, no matter what his talent was, because I always thought physically he was a very talented quarterback, but in his head, I felt like he was hesitant. And in the NFL, you can't be hesitant. But when you have a shitty offensive line, when you're constantly running for your life, when you have 3 head coaches in 4 years, and you have God knows how many offensive coordinators and how many defensive coordinators and how many wide receivers and how many linemen, he had no shot here. He had no shot here. So what I'll say, Cobb, is this year, yeah, I think the offensive line is still a big question. And I do think if, God forbid, I hope Russ doesn't get hurt, but if he goes out early in the year, I think Jameis Winston is the backup. I think at the end of the year, kind of if we're in a position where we're kind of out of it and we hit that bye late in the year, that's when we're going to see Jackson Dart at the end of the year. Because I think that John Mara, I have a feeling he gave them his blessing with this draft. I guarantee you, Cop. I guarantee this year we did a lot with defense. You know, we went out, we drafted Abdul Carter, you had a Javon Holland, you had a Paulson Debo, you had a Chauncey Golston. I guarantee you next year it's all offensive line, draft offensive line, sign offensive line, get a number 2 receiver in here because they will not let happen to Jackson Dart what happened to Daniel Jones. I guarantee you they don't do that. So Jackson Dart's going to have an opportunity to succeed. And while I didn't want to take him with our first pick, I had no problem with them trading up to get him ahead of the Rams. And I know the Rams wanted him because as soon as the Giants took him, the Rams traded back to 46. It was obvious that the Rams are going to take him. And look what happened to Matt Stafford, right? Matt Stafford's got a bad disc.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, I don't want them to rush him in there either. But I guarantee you next year, they're gonna set him up for success more so than they did Daniel Jones.
I don't want Jackson Dart to be used either to save Brian Dable if this season goes poorly.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and speaking of the defense, and by the way, we do have a number 2 receiver, dog. His name's Darius Slayton.
I know, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, look, I mean, if that is another concern is if Neighbors goes down and this toe thing keeps lingering, the Giants' weakness could be the receiver.
That's what I mean by getting another receiver, getting some depth.
I mean, Jalen Hyatt just is not. I mean, for whatever reason, it just has not worked yet, and hopefully that changes this year. I'm not optimistic about it, to be honest with you, as I was when he got here. Wandale has got to stay healthy. Wandale just feels like that Sterling Shepard thing to me. Where it's like, you're showing flashes. Oh, then you're hurt now. You know, and it's like it's so frustrating. And Neighbors does look like a superstar. I mean, Neighbors looks like he could be in that Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase category, right? Like, absolutely. Hey, you know, like just a freak receiver. And, you know, I have wondered, you know, Russ, the last 2 years, the Denver thing didn't work out. And Pittsburgh, yeah, he technically did get to the playoffs. But I kind of wonder if a guy like Neighbors could make Russ look a little better than he has the last couple years. You know,
they help one another without question.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I you know, if you always wonder if a receiver can help, if sometimes receivers make certain quarterbacks look good, and so it's where it's kind of like I'm like, well, man, can Russ do this? And you were talking about timing, and I will say that Russ in training camp has shown that timing that Daniel Jones lacked. But again, I go back to the thing. It's like, I don't know if that's something that Daniel just didn't have at the get-go, or if that was just something where it was just, he he was broken to the point where he
Yeah.
couldn't trust anybody around him to do their job, and especially when a guy like Andrew Thomas goes down, I don't know that he felt really comfortable being out there without him. Now, at the end of the day, you
With
take
Josh Azuda protecting him, I wouldn't be.
yeah,
Either.
I mean, and when the there's been a lack of running game. Now, Tracy,
Yeah.
I know it's weird to say that, but like even with Saquon, we had some moments where Saquon looked fantastic, and then obviously there was the time when he got hurt. And, when we lost him in that deal, or we lost our running game. And I know when Tracy has come in, Tracy, that's one thing that people didn't talk about enough. I felt like last year was like Tracy really did a good job at running back for us last year in a year where everyone laughed at us for moving on from Saquon, maybe rightfully so. But like, it wasn't like the running back position wasn't getting usefulness out of it with Tracy playing, like we actually had a good quality, running back. Like, I mean,
he had over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. He didn't become the starter till like week 6. So, I mean, he was really good.
He was a really good player. Like, I'm not big on Singletary, but I really like Tracy and Cam. He just looks like a New York Giant, doesn't he?
I'll tell you, Cop. I tell us story a lot of my channel with Cam Scadaboo. Like, I don't watch Arizona. I don't watch Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
It's rare that I'm up that late. I love watching the SEC and the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. And now that Oklahoma moved out of the Big 12, I really watch the Big 12 anymore because I always thought that was kind of an inferior conference to the SEC anyway. I mean, I love SEC football. But I'm watching that Peach Bowl against Texas, and I just watching this guy just destroy the Longhorns. And they had a really good defense last year.
Yeah.
To the point that my wife, who doesn't watch football, says to me, he's really good. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I really like him. I would love the Giants to have him. Now, I didn't know where he was projected to go in the draft. So when we got to day 3 and we're sitting there with our 4th round pick, I'm like, I would love Scadabo, but I'd love Marcus Bowe. We need a lineman, but Cam's there. Like, to get them both, yeah. I was thrilled to get both of them. But I hope that Dable came out today and said the hamstring's not like a serious injury, which I'm thankful for because he gives us that toughness. I think Cam's the guy that gives us that 3rd down and 1 guy. He's not running away from anybody, but he'll run through somebody.
Yeah.
He is a giant. He looks like a giant.
He looks like a giant.
He's great coming out of the backfield. And again, he's just that compact, strong. And like I said, you kind of have your thunder and lightning, if you will, with those 2 guys. And if they're both healthy, I think the running game could be pretty good if the line holds up. So I love the Scadabo pick. And yeah, I think Tyrone Tracy is very underrated.
I'll
tell you, Cobb, this is actually the most, and I do this to myself every year because I'm a fan. We're like, this year is going to be different. This year is going to be different. We're going to be better. Mm-hmm. There's just a different feel about it. I really feel like Shane nailed the draft last year, and he nailed the draft this year. We really hit rock bottom last year, and I feel like eventually you're going to start to see progress. I know we have a really tough schedule, but screw Washington and screw Dallas. I think we can start 2-0. I honestly do. I honestly think we can.
I feel that way too. And I'm to be honest with you, when you look on paper, and I know that's a scary thing to say. On paper, the defense looks like they could be a lot of fun. I mean, a lot of fun. And I swear I'm trying not to put this into the universe. But it feels like to me that I just know that the Giants' luck that we will not have the full services of either Kayvon Burns or Carter. Like one of them's going to get hurt. I already know somebody's going to get hurt, and then we're not going to be able to have all 3 of them and have that fun NASCAR package with those 3 and Dexter Lawrence. Like I just know we're not going to have that, be able to have that fun. But by the way, I was going to say this with Kayvon. I know you're big into the fitness thing. With like on some of the stuff he's posted, he looks like he's just chiseled. I mean, he looks jacked.
Yeah, they're all
jacked. He looks like, oh no, I know they're all jacked, but like
they're all crazy.
He looks like almost like a cartoon character jacked. Like he has changed his physique in the offseason and bulked up, which made me think like he's gonna play kind of like that Justin Tuck role where on the NASCAR package, he would actually move to the inside and let Carter use his freakish ability to come off the edge Burns comes off the edge, and then you've got Kayvon and Dex in the middle, just pushing like wild bulls, kind of deal. And so, and which, by the way, if those four can create that pass rush, I know our secondary is a little bit questionable with Banks. And again, all this is on paper.
Yep.
If those four can generate a pass rush, now you've got 7 guys in coverage. And that's a lot to deal with for an offense.
Right.
That if you're having success just rushing 4, going back to the Giants Super Bowls, I mean, that was what was great for their defense is they only had to rush 4.
Going back to last year's Super Bowl, the Eagles only had to rush 4.
Yeah, I mean, when you can only rush,
yeah,
when you only have to rush, you can. And I agree with you on this on Shane. And I was done with both Dable and Shane at the end of last season. Yep. And part of that was I felt like they used Daniel as a scapegoat. And I felt like they all, you gave him the contract. You said you believed in him. Now you're throwing him under the bus to try to save y'all's jobs. I didn't like that. That just wasn't that didn't sit well with me. So some of it was that. Other times it was like, man, it just doesn't seem like we're getting the players or we're not being coached up. A lot of games it felt like at halftime the adjustments just wasn't good for us. And so anyways, I was really kind of leaning towards like just being done with both of them. And I will say that Shane this offseason has completely won me back over with a lot of his moves. I actually, looking back on it, it didn't make sense to me when they both got Winston and Russ. But I think the way I look at it is like, it's almost like they've created 2 barriers to get to the rookie quarterback.
Right.
2 walls. And like if Russ goes down, it's like you said, Winston probably comes in next and you still have that protection of not having to play Dart.
Right.
And unless Dart does something, and I'm excited to see him in the preseason, I mean,
Me too,
I'm really excited to see how all that works out. But, so it's almost like they've created 2 layers. And also they've said, look, we're not ever going back on the field without a competent quarterback again. Like, and when Daniel would go down, who was coming behind him, right? I mean, even when Taylor was going out there, Taylor would get hurt.
Yeah.
He just get hurt immediately. And now you got Jimmy DeVito and his agent sitting there getting all the airtime. And you're just like, what is wrong with my team? And so, but anyways, Joe Shane's moves this offseason have just completely won me over to the point where it's like, okay, whatever happens, I'm good. I'm good with Joe Shane going forward. I'm still good with him. Dable still has to win me over. Like Dable to me has to, and I would love to know what you feel like Dable needs to win in order to save his job or to keep his job. I shouldn't say save his job, to keep his job. To me, dog, there needs to be at least 7 wins. To me, there needs to be 7 wins, and I just don't think that Dable in this market amongst Giant fans, and Giant fans are so, again, when you watch this team and you root for this same team for over 30 years, you already know what they're going to do and how they're going to feel and who they're going to boo and who they're going to like and all this, like Cam, going back to Scatterboo, like he just looks like a guy that is going, I mean, he's Shockey, Bavaro, right? Just rough-nosed dudes that would run people over. Jacobs, Bradshaw. These are guys that Giant fans just fell in love with. And then, there are some guys that Giant fans just ain't going to like. It just is what it is. And so with that being said, dog, it's like Dable can't go out there and just win 5 games and then I'll expect to keep his job. I mean, that's where it's like, I wonder how many he needs to produce in order to keep save face with this organization. Because again, everybody's in this honeymoon phase right now, dog. Nobody, there's no games has been played.
Every August we're in the honeymoon phase.
Everybody's feeling good. Everybody's feeling optimistic, and I'm glad. Look, every team should be feeling optimistic. Everybody should feel great. I get it. I am too. And I agree with you. I think they can win the first 2 games. And then let's have some fun against the Chiefs. Like let's go on national television 2-0 and let's go play a team that's been playing in Super Bowls. Like let's do it. Like let's show everybody. But man, you start 0-2, then you got the Chiefs.
Yep.
You know, shit's gonna get hot real fast, dog.
I agree.
And, content creators gonna, that all the stuff that they're saying now just ain't gonna be what's being said. And so, what do you think, dog? I mean, what do you need to win in order to maintain this? Because I don't want a lot of turnover, dog. Like I don't like when the organization's making a bunch of changes over and over. And now that you've got a new franchise quarterback, like I'd like him to have some similarity each and every year.
Yeah, the turnover is not good for a young quarterback at all. I mean, it ruins a lot of quarterbacks, and they have to learn a different system every year, and you have no consistency at all. And you're constantly wondering who's coming in this year, what's going on here. It's hard to make that adjustment. The Daboll thing's a really good question, because if you watch the way the draft went and you heard Joe Schoen, it almost sounded like Schoen was kind of like he didn't sound like he was sold on Jack Star, but Daboll was sold. And he said, hey, if you guys think it's worth it, who's going to remember a 3rd round pick or whatever the hell he said. I don't know. I don't know if there's a game, like amount of games he has to win. I think the Giants have to be competitive. I think they have, because it's a tough schedule. I think if they could beat the Cowboys for the first time in God knows how long, if they could beat Washington, if they could find a way to beat Philadelphia, or, it'd be really kind of like, the way the Panthers were at the end of last year, they were not a good team, but they played really tough against Kansas City, almost beat them, played really tough against Philadelphia, almost beat them. Like they benched you. They lost, and I don't like moral victories, but when you're a young team and you are competing against the best and you're right there, you're saying, okay, we got something. I think if the Giants were, say, 6-11, but they had those games where they were able to beat Dallas. Maybe they lose to Detroit 24-21, but they're right there with Detroit, or they lose to Philadelphia 27-23, but they're right with them. Like they're not too far away, and they're competing with those teams, but they only win 6 games. I think you could go forward and just say, okay, we've improved. It looks like we're going in this direction. We're starting to become more competitive with the better teams. Let's give these guys another year of free agency. Let's give them another year of drafting, because we're moving in the right direction. Let's have them have a shot with the quarterback they want, and let's see what happens. If it completely goes off the rails, Cup, and we have a year like we did last year, and we're picking top 2 or top 3, it's very possible both lose their jobs, and Jackson Dart's not a quarterback because a new GM comes in and goes, that's not my guy. I'm going to take Arch Manning.
And that's
I don't even think Arch Manning is eligible next year.
I don't think he's coming out
Drew Aller or whatever. Yeah, he's not going to come out because the Mannings finished school.
Yeah.
But they might go, I want Drew Aller or whoever, the hot quarterback is. So I think unless it's just a complete embarrassment like last year was, I think he's going to be okay. And I'm with you. I hope they keep their job, because I want Jackson Dart to have some stability. I don't want him to get off to, we're changing this, we're changing that, we're changing this. There you go, Rook. Go ahead.
Especially if he has chemistry with Daboll right now. Like if, that they, and I don't know, I mean, you'd have to ask him, but I mean, especially if he's built something right now that he feels really good and comfortable with. But and I don't mean like 7 wins, like, oh, it's got to be 7, or I agree with you. Like if they're competitive every game and the ball just bounced funny, like, but I guess where I'm getting at, dog, is this Giant fan base is just, and again, goes back to some content creators as well. It's just, they are so fickle where it's like, sometimes we don't use context. And sometimes we don't say like, well, if this would have happened the way it did, like it would have been better. I actually think the Giants are going to be fighting for somewhere in a ballpark of 7 to 9 wins. Like
we're going to finish ahead of Dallas this year. I've been saying this all off season.
Well,
we're going to finish ahead of the Cowboys. I'm telling you right now.
Dallas seems to be a ticking time bomb. I will say I have interest in Dallas because I think it's interesting. Pickens, like now that they've got Pickens and Dak has kind of got a 1-2 combo there.
He's always had that though.
Well, but he's had good quality receivers. You're right, but to me, Dallas, the Micah thing is just so, to me. I don't know if those guys are trolling. They just love. They're so drama down there in Dallas.
Yeah, they are. They love any kind.
They love to find attention. Like
they do. Yeah.
I think Jerry loves this. I
He
think
does. Absolutely loves it.
I think he thinks it's fantastic,
He does.
but it's like, he just wants the Cowboys to be set on TV every day. And I firmly believe, dog, that those first 2 games of the season to me dictates the rest of the season.
I agree with
You know,
you.
and I'm not saying that they have to start 2-0. 2-0 would be fabulous. I definitely think Washington isn't going to sneak up on anybody. I think Jaden could have somewhat of a sophomore slump.
Yep.
I'm not scared of, a Debo Samuel. Like I'm not, and the Terry thing, like hell, he wants a new contract. So I'm not really afraid of those guys. I do think Dan Quinn's a great coach. But to me, it is possible because look, the Giants, although they didn't have success last year, they've had Washington's number over
we
the
were
last
close to
decade.
them last year too. In the first game, we sacked Jaden Daniels 7 times, and that was without Abdul Carter. And I remember Bowen actually blitzed a lot in that game. And the only reason I felt like we lost is because we didn't have a kicker. I feel like we would have beat.
Yeah, one of them was because which again,
and I chewed Dable out for that.
That was Dable's fault, though. That was a game that Dable, to me, lost single-handedly because you went into the game with already knowing that could happen, and you didn't try to do anything about it. But you're totally right. I mean, we basically lost that game because without a kicker. Now Dallas, Dak has just had our number. I mean, and it kills me to say that because he has just had our damn number. Now, again, different quarterback in play, which, when you look at the offense, I mean, I understand they've rearranged the offensive line. They pretty much just replaced Daniel. That's pretty much all they did on the offensive side of the ball. So to me, whatever you saw, maybe there's a little bit more production. I definitely think the defense is better than what we had a year ago because obviously Carter's involved in that. I think our secondary is going to be a little bit better. But to me, those games are absolutely on the table. I actually think the spread against the Commanders is so ridiculous. Like they're like a touchdown favorite against the Giants week 1.
Wow.
And I just think that I'd have to look again. They're somewhere in the ballpark of 6 to 7 point favorites against the Giants week 1. And look, I'm obviously a Giants fan, but I just think that's ridiculous. And I understand Washington's last game they played, they were in the NFC Championship game, but they're not that much better than us. Even if you go back and look at last year's games, and I feel like we've improved this offseason. Now, and obviously Washington's at home, but it's not like Washington's home field has been that much, overpowering, for us. It's not even that to me an issue. Now I'm playing Dallas on the road may be a little bit different, but not Washington. Not certainly not Washington. But I actually, dog, I live in a world where I think they could win the first 2 games. And then who knows what happens against Kansas City, because Kansas City is kind of in a little sandwich spot schedule-wise that I don't know that they would really enter. I don't know how up they would be for the Giants is kind of what I'm hitting at. Not that they're not better than the Giants, but just that, what effort are they going to give when they've got the Eagles either the previous week or the week after that?
I think it's the previous week. I think it's week 2 they have.
Yeah, and Kansas City, after losing to the Eagles in the Super Bowl, they're going to want to get payback on Philadelphia, and they're going to give absolute 100%.
Yeah, they could definitely have a letdown against us.
They could absolutely have a letdown against us. That's why when people go on and on about the schedule for the Giants, I'm not so sure that it's as hard. I mean, if you want to talk about last year, what happened last year, but teams change.
They do.
Teams change every 2 weeks, it seems like.
And also, you mentioned Philadelphia Cup. Well, Dallas plays Philadelphia week 1.
Yeah.
So it's the same type of thing,
I love the fact that the NFC East is basically coming out to hit each other in the mouth.
I love it too.
I'm very interested in that Cowboys and Eagles game. I mean, because
I think we all are. Yeah.
You're saying, and you're an Eagles hater. I mean, and what's funny is I think you hate the Eagles like I hate the Cowboys. And look, I hate the Eagles too, but like you have that hatred that I have for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, I don't know if you've seen me on Twitter lately. I've been flaying Cowboys fans. I've kind of turned my attention to them. There's no love lost there either. But yes, I hate Philadelphia with a passion.
isn't Mark Holmes like your typical Cowboys fan? Doesn't he
Yes.
just scream? Like if you saw him in the middle of Home Depot and he didn't even have any football gear on, dog, you would just say, "Oh yeah, that's a fucking Cowboys fan. I can smell it on him." You know what I'm saying? Like they all have the same look to them. It's just like you can just see it. Like, oh, that's for sure a Cowboys fan. You know, there's no question that's a damn Cowboys fan. You know, they have just such a look about them. And so Eagles fans have a little look to them too. You know, you could probably speak more to that than I can, but
Yeah.
Cowboy fans have the same damn look to them. And Mark just screams Cowboys fan. J-Wad used to scream Cowboys fan.
Yeah. If you heard J-Wad talk, you would know that's a Cowboy fan. And good old Texas drawl there. You would, there's no way you would think of anything else but a Cowboys fan.
But yeah, I mean, but going back to that week 1 game, you're saying, or what you believe is that the Cowboys could potentially have a rough year. And that week 1 matchup would kind of expose that and show that. And which, by the way, what world would you live? I mean, imagine if the Giants did lose to Washington and the Cowboys did lose to the Eagles. Now you're looking at week 2 matchup that is extremely important now because you don't want to go down 0-2, you know, to start the year.
And 0-2 in the division. You don't want to do that either.
No, absolutely. And that's what I'm dog. When I hear all this honeymoon shit, which I'm all good about people being optimistic and feeling good. It's like, man, you lose the first 2 division games. You know, the heat is going to get hot on not only table, but how did Russ play? You know, and all the cheerfulness, like, oh, he's such a team leader. Oh, he's leading. So that gets corny and cringy really fast when you're not winning.
You got to win. It does not matter. Just win. And we haven't won in so long. And I think that's what it is. The fan base it's frustrating. And listen, Giants fans, you know, New Yorkers in general, Northeastern people in general, that's just the way we're very impatient and we're very matter of fact. Like my wife will say to me a lot of, like, I'll talk to people and she's like, do you hear the way you talk to people? I'm like, I'm not doing it to be me. I'm just very straightforward and blunt. I'm matter of fact. I don't really talk about, like, I don't pussyfoot around shit. Like, I'm going to tell you what I think. I don't care if you like it or you don't. I think that's just part of my generation. I think that's part of being a New Yorker. We're very emotional. We're passionate. And, you know, this is why I do 2 videos, right? I'll do the one right after the post game. And if they piss me off, I say they piss me off. But I always go back on Monday and I do another one. And I when I'm calmed down, and then I go over the stuff that we need to do better. So I always like to have the immediate, kind of like NASCAR. You know, in NASCAR, when they get out and they have a big wreck right at the end, and they're pissed, and they put the mic in their face, and Tony Stewart will be like, you know, fuck this guy or whatever. What a piece of shit. I'm like, that was great. That's great. People want to see that.
Right. Yeah.
I freaking miss Tony. Listen, I don't watch NASCAR the way I used to because I feel like, I know you're a NASCAR guy.
Oh yeah.
But to me, I feel like they kind of lost some of the personalities when, like, Sterling Marlin retired and Tony was gone and Elliott Sadler and, you know, Ward Burton. I'm like, NASCAR needs those characters. They still have Kyle Busch, who I always love.
Every league needs characters.
Yeah, I just felt like Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, like those, Dale Earnhardt. You know what I mean? Like, that was my NASCAR. And then I just didn't like the way they changed so many rules, the stages, the points, the play. I just like, I kind of lost interest. I just go to NASCAR races every year. I would pick a place and go. I loved it, but I kind of feel like that characters are good. And so when you get those guys,
Giants fans love characters.
Yeah. Well, it's just a New York thing, man. I don't know. I don't want to explain it. We are, what is the saying? We're kind, but we're not nice. It's kind, or we're nice, but we're not, whatever it is. Like, we'll just get off the subway. We're not going to say nothing. You're just going to help you get your shit off the subway and go our separate ways. It's I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Yeah. Look at this comment. Look at this comment. We've been getting a lot of comments like this, and isn't this always like osmosis?
Well, look who it is.
I know.
It's osmosis.
But isn't it? But you probably hear this. I get a lot of comments like this all the time, and it feels really good, like to get comments like this and to get this kind of support because it's like, I remember a time when I would come on YouTube and like, oh, they're like, oh, this kid's a bandwagon fan. He's not a real, because I mean, obviously the Giants were good, and now they've been so piss poor that it's like, well, he's got to be a fan,
Right. So what's he bandwagoning now?
Yeah. And so
I went to the Eagles. Cobb, you were here. I say this shit all the time. I'm like, I've been here a long time. There was no Eagle fans before 2017. There was Nitro Freak, Desert Eagle.
There were more Redskin fans than there were Eagle fans at one time. Yes. And now look, I will say this. There's always been Cowboy fans.
Absolutely.
Cowboy fans have always been.
Agreed.
And I hate to say this. They're all the fucking same. They all look the same. I mean, from every generation, from 07 to 2025, they all have the same look to them. I swear it's like they all have the same signature look to them that just screams, oh yeah, that guy's a Cowboys fan. It's like Jerry has molded certain human beings to look a certain way. Like really, I mean, honestly. But anyways, they're Cowboy fans have always been present on YouTube as far as I'm concerned. Eagle fans were not that they were not like at first. My favorite one was, and I don't know if you remember him, was he had multiple. I think it was Nikolai. There was another. He went by another name too. Double Time, I think. No,
Double Time. Leroy. Yes, I remember.
Leroy, yes.
I remember him.
Videos were hilarious, and people but I think he also went by Nikolai too at one time. But anyways,
Power Rangers is another one.
Power Rangers is an OG. It's weird to see some of these guys later in life that it's like I just see, and it's like, man, we were living in a wild world at one point.
We
like
were,
doing some crazy stuff. But but yeah, Power Rangers was another one, and then you have had this onslaught of just, I mean, I hate to even bring him up, but you've got EDP that's came on, which obviously made a huge presence. And then Philly
in more ways than one.
In more ways than one. It's crazy. Like he wanted to be TTC, and then I think he just started to do his own thing, and then he just blew up enormously.
Yeah.
But it's crazy.
In more ways than one.
In more ways. Hey, when I'm always feeling bad about myself, dog, I just look at EDP and I start feeling bad. But anyways, yeah, Eagle fans, and by the way, I'm gonna tell you something else about Eagle fans. I don't, and granted, they've had a little bit of success. Which, by the way, when your team is really good, like the Giants were in 07, 08, like you're supposed to win 2 Super Bowls with them,
right?
If you have a really good core, you're supposed to win 2 Super Bowls. You're not supposed to just win one. You're supposed to win a couple of them. That's what's supposed to happen. There's evidence in the history of the NFL of clearly showing that when teams are really good, they win multiple Super Bowls with the same core. That's just what it is. So the Eagle fans act like they're the only individuals that have ever won a Super Bowl. They act like they're the smartest bunch. And the reality of their team is they've taken advantage of multiple organizations that were stupid, that were dumb at a certain time, the Titans being one of them, the Giants being one of them.
Yep.
And they've gotten lucky with something. They got lucky with Jalen Hurts. Nobody else wanted to take a chance on him. They took the chance on him. And look, they've drafted well, and they've brought in guys. Like, this just is what it is. But they're still playing catch-up ball as far as I'm concerned with the Giants and the Cowboys. And I hate to sound like a Cowboys fan because Cowboy fans literally have not done anything since the mid-90s. But we have at least had some success in the 2000s. Granted, it's been some time now, but we've had some success in this, in the last 20 years.
Right. Right.
They can't even say that.
Yeah.
Cowboy fans can't. And guess what? Washington fans, they can't say it either.
No, they
And
haven't
all
won
of us,
since George H.W. Bush was the president.
which
Dude,
by
I
the
was in
way,
high school the last. I'm 50 years old, man. I was in high school the last time they won a damn Super Bowl. So I don't
yeah,
want to hear it.
and they finally got a guy. And again, like, we don't even know that he's like, I mean, they were acting this same way when they had RG3. When RG3 hit the scene, all of a sudden they said, "Oh, we've got this spectacular quarterback that's going to be for the next decade." They said all these things and then he got hurt and then just went away like a fart in the wind.
Yep.
And now they're saying the same thing about Jaden Daniels. They're saying the same exact stuff. And look, I'm not wishing injury on Jaden Daniels by any means, but it's so funny how they finally got a guy that's halfway decent and they don't know how to act. They legitimately don't know how to act with him. And so when I look at that week 1 matchup, I'm like, why would I be even afraid of the Commanders? Like, I honestly think we had to play them regardless. We're going to have to play them twice. But, everyone has talked about the schedule. To me, there is no better matchup for the Giants than Jaden Daniels and the Commanders week 1. And the reason I say that is because not only is it a game that I think the Giants can compete with, it's not like this team that's for sure a Super Bowl caliber team, and it's not this team that's not really that good, like that's, on a rebound, because you don't want to. I mean, look, I would love to start out with 1-0. Don't get me wrong, but my point being is like, if we were to beat the, let's say, give me a team that's just like the Titans. You beat the Titans, you're like, well, we're supposed to beat the Titans,
right?
If you beat the Commanders, you say, well, shit, they were in the NFC Championship game last year. But at the same time, it's not like they're that good, but they're not that bad. To me, it's just the right mixture of what they are. And if you can win that, there feels like some credit to that. Now, everybody's going to say, oh, well, the Commanders aren't any good this year. They lost to the Giants. But you get what I'm saying is, like, they're a great matchup for us week 1 to test what we are now as a franchise and an organization.
Agree. The Giants have a lot of different parts. Washington is kind of the same as they were. And you mentioned, I mean, listen, Washington had a really good year, and I'm not taking anything away from them. I love Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels is really good, but they also had a lot of luck go their way. Remember the Hail Mary against the Bears?
Yeah, I do remember. Yeah,
they had some luck. Like I'm not trying to diminish their victory against Detroit. That was really impressive. But I think if Aiden Hutchinson plays, it's a little different. I know Goff turned the ball over 5 times, and they kind of got stupid with some of the things they did. I felt like they pressed. I felt like Detroit started to press and started to call these trick plays, and they should have just did what they did all year. But I feel like if Aiden Hutchinson there, it might have been a little bit different. And then they faced Philadelphia, and they got a reality check. And Jaden Daniels, Commander fans say, "Oh, he played well. Look at the stats." I'm like, he was missing throws. He was late. He was throwing high. He was throwing in the dirt. Yeah. I gave him credit for the first 2 playoff games, saying, "Look, really like poised," which was incredible for a rookie. But that game against Philadelphia, he looked shook. And I'm like, and that Philadelphia defense was really. I hate complimenting them, but facts are facts.
Yeah.
That defense,
that's all you can do.
So when they got some pressure on him and he had to throw, you saw what happened. So if we get them in a situation where he has to throw and our pass rush can do what they have to do, I think we have a great chance to beat them.
Well, but here's the point I'm making, dog. And again, we're going off the assumption that we stay healthy, right? Everybody stays healthy,
yep.
But when people have talked about the schedule, to me, the first 3 weeks is so identical and should be considered identical as a Giants fan. Here's why: you play Washington week 1. That's a team you've had success against in the last decade, whether we've beat Jaden Daniels or not. That's going back to what you said. We didn't have a kicker for one of those games. We lost the game because we didn't have a damn kicker. That's facts. I mean, that's literally facts. Jaden didn't beat us. Brian Dable not having an alternate kicker on the damn roster is the reason why we lost the game. So you get to test your skills against Washington to see where you stack up. A team that, again, was in the NFC Championship game. Then week 2, you have a chance to test your skills up against the Dallas Cowboys, a team you have had no success against the last decade. Dak has owned you. Dak has taken it to you. The Cowboys, if you could find a way to win that game, you build on week 1, depending on how you did week 1, you can test that and say, hey, we got over that hump, or we can say, well, it's same old shit. We just can't beat the Cowboys for whatever reason. But if you can get over the week 1 hump, and you can get over the week 2 hump of those 2 matchups, now you get, as a fan base and as a team, you get to test your skills against a team that has literally been in the Super Bowl, been a Super Bowl caliber team. Yeah, I mean, this is so, to me, it's like the first 3 weeks, and again, most notably the first 2. How could we not love this as a fan base? Like, we want to see our team. What good does it do us to play 3 Tennessee Titan games? And I say the Titans as they were bad in 2024. What good does it do us as an organization, as fan base, to watch our team win 3 games against teams that are inferior competition? We should want to see our guys get tested and know, like, oh shit, we've got a good team. Man, Russ has came in and has given stability to the quarterback position that we didn't have a year ago. Or, man, the offensive line now, they're playing as a unit. They look really good. Oh, that pass rush that we were hoping, man, it's a freak show. Like, it's really good, And I would argue this too, dog. I said this the other day, I think, in a video. On paper, I think, and this could be saying a lot, dog, 30-plus year Giant fan, I think this has a chance to be a pass rush better than almost anything we've ever had as a unit. And I think that's saying a lot, coming from the fact that when you think about Michael Strahan and O.C. Umenyior and Justin Tuck, and even going back to LT days, when LT obviously changed the linebacking position of rushing and being able to rush the quarterback and changing the game. And I'm not saying Abdul Carter is LT, but my point being is, as a unit, not just one player, but as a unit, this could be something extremely special and unlike even what we've seen before, and obviously that team, this team and these guys need to go out and win a championship to do what the previous guys did. But my point being is they can stay healthy, dog. I mean, I'm extremely optimistic about that unit. Going back to the original point of what we talked about earlier, I'm not nervous about the pass rush. I'm worried about the other side of the ball, and if they can keep their shit together, because this defense, I would like to think, dog, is going to help the offense start in good field position in most games. I think what's been frustrating about this the Giants defense is we've had a bend but don't break attitude.
That's a really good point, because our field position has been shitty. We're like always 20 or back. Always, because like you said, the defense would give it up to like the 45 or the 50, and then we're pinned really deep. That's a really
and I don't want to make this excuse for Daniel, but he was the quarterback. It sucks when you have to start inside the 20.
Yeah. No,
I mean, your back is against the wall. You don't trust your offensive line to begin with. Yep. You're 15 yards from the damn end zone, or creating a safety. Inevitably
we start off with a false start penalty.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard. I mean, think about it. I mean, the kickoff with the way the kickoff is made, teams are basically starting at the 30 or the 35 pretty much now. So having to start either in the 20 or inside now is almost like having to go the whole damn field pretty much with the way, because now, they're just starting damn near almost they're 1 first down away from basically being at midfield now these days. And when your team, and here's what to me has happened. Our defenses did a lot of bending, not necessarily a lot of breaking, but they haven't created, over the last few years, we haven't created a lot of turnovers, which one thing I've loved.
Our secondary had 4 picks last year?
Hardly anything.
Secondary had 4 interceptions. Our secondary had 4.
Yeah, and then Xavier McKinney goes to Green Bay, and all of a sudden it's a picking machine.
Yeah, of course.
But the point being is, like, one thing I've loved about what Bowen has been saying is, like, be a fucking pirate this year. Like, and considering what an actual pirate is, like, we're coming on your boat, we're taking your prize possession,
your shit.
We're taking your shit, matey, and we're getting the hell out of here. That's what we're, and like, I love that message that he's been sending. And, you would like to think that the pass rush is going to help these guys create. Tyler Nubin in college was a ball hawk.
I'll tell you what, one of my hot takes this year was Tyler Nubin's going to have more interceptions than our entire secondary had last year. I might have even said an entire team had last year.
I was going to ask you.
I think he could have like 6 picks.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you go back and look at who he was in college, I mean, he was making plays, but
and Drew Phillips, I love Drew.
I love Drew. And by the way, that's another guy. Giants.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
I'll tell you what, the first game we played Washington, he almost ended Jaden Daniels. I mean, he popped him really hard where Daniels had to go off the field. It was like grabbing his ribs. He came back, obviously, but Drew Phillips is a dog. I love Drew Phillips, man.
Drew Phillips, and I feel the same way about Darius Slayton, and I probably will end up feeling the same way about like Cam, is that I feel like them guys, the way what they bring to the team and the way they play, even when they play hurt, like they just look like a guy that could have played in any generation. Like Darius Slayton to me could have fit right in with Amani Toomer and Ike Hilliard, for example.
Absolutely.
Like I just think he's such a typical type of giant receiver, because before Plaxico, who was the greatest receiver to ever be?
It had to be Toomer.
Yeah, I mean, a well-dressed Amani Toomer. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and Toomer was great, but Toomer he
wasn't flashy. He was just workmanlike.
Yeah, he was workmanlike. And that's what, to me, Darius Slayton is. He's just workmanlike. And so, Plaxico obviously came in and gave us that legitimate big number one receiver. And so it's weird because Neighbors, obviously then OBJ eventually showed up down the road, and he's given some of that Neighbors. It kind of feels like that, where it's like these, it's a generational type of player kind of deal. And so, but anyways, going back to Drew Phillips, Drew's another one that you could just seen him. He would have worked in any era of Giants football. He would have just been, he could have like just the way he plays, the way he competes. I really hope he stays healthy, dog.
Me too.
Like he could really, he's the type of guy, like I don't really buy jerseys, but like that's the kind of guy, like, man, that's the kind of jersey I would want right there, as a guy like Drew Phillips, just the way
I said on Twitter, I'm like, I don't want to buy any jerseys because the last 3 I bought, they all left. I bought they're like, you have to wait for them to sign the contract. I'm like, I did with Beckham, and they traded him. I bought a Saquon Color Rush. He left. I bought a McKinney Classic. He left. I'm like, I don't want to buy anybody's jersey anymore.
The first jersey I bought my wife, who obviously wasn't a Giants fan before I met her, I bought her an OBJ Color Rush.
Yeah.
And because I just said, when I bought OBJ dress socks. I bought OBJ t-shirts. Like I was team, like I was in the OBJ boat. I mean, I'd have been right there taking the playoff picture with him, when I mean, I was team OBJ. So, and which is funny, because I told my wife, I said, hey, listen, I don't throw jerseys away, but just kind of tuck that one in the back if you don't mind. And my daughter the other day was wearing it. Just, my wife was cleaning out her closet, and I was like, what the heck? Like, where'd that come from? And so, but anyways, that's why I hate buying jerseys too. It's like you just have so much faith in the player when you buy them, and then something just happens and turns on you. And then you just like, oh God, I can't. Another one that, who ruined jersey buying for me was Kenny Phillips.
Oh, I bought one too.
I bought a Kenny Phillips jersey. I had
Kenny Phillips.
Kenny Phillips was one of my favorite Giant players.
Same.
And when his ass signed with the Eagles, I just was beside myself. I just couldn't. Now, the Saquon thing, like, I don't know why Saquon.
Oh, you know who else signed with the Eagles? I loved Steve Smith.
Oh, like yes.
Steve Smith. This is a Steve Smith. I don't know how old this freaking shirt is. Yeah, I love Steve Smith. Like, he was my favorite, man. And he had the knee problem, much like Kenny Phillips. Like, they were really good, then they tore their knee, and then they went to Philadelphia and kind of disappeared.
But. And that's happened to us so much, it seems like, lately, where it's like we get a player that we really like and is really beneficial to us, and then they for some reason don't pan out. And that's what did you know, dog, that the last 5 Super Bowls have had a first round pick by the Giants in it? The last 5.
No, I did not know.
Yeah, you got Saquon.
Saquon, yep.
You got OBJ.
Yep. Kadarius Toney, right?
Kadarius Toney, and you got JPP.
I forgot about JPP.
The last 5 Super Bowls has had a first-round New York Giants player in it. And that to me is so damn depressing. It's so depressing because, like, we have not gotten the first-round draft pick correct for this team in quite some time. Like, we really haven't. And, I mean, obviously, Dexter Lawrence kind of looks like that probably is correct. You know, hopefully Jackson Dart will be correct. Hopefully Abdul Carter will be correct. I mean, hopefully that.
I mean, Andrew Thomas when he's healthy, I think that was
that's the problem, dog.
But he can't stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, like, and you know, the Andrew Thomas thing is like you're just teasing me. You're teasing me.
Yeah,
because you show me signs of like, oh, this guy could be the best left tackle in the league, and then it's like, oh, well, you're hurt, and you're just teasing me. And like dog, it's one thing if the right tackle was constantly getting hurt, or the right guard,
because it's not the blind side.
I can't have the left tackle getting hurt. You know what I'm saying? I understand it's football, it's a contact sport, but it's like if there's some positions on the field that you have got to stay healthy at, the left tackle being one of them. I do really like Bo, by the way, from Purdue. Yeah. I like him a lot. I think he could be a future right tackle.
That was a great pick.
It's a great pick. I mean,
really good. And I tell you, guy, man, I'm telling you, a sleeper that could catch on and be really good as Thomas Fedoni, man. I have a feeling about him.
Dog, I am a Fedoni stan. I am 100% with you. I was going to ask you, I don't want to forget, is there a guy that you're maybe isn't a household name, like it's just no household name that could potentially that you like on the roster? Like you had mentioned Nubin a minute ago. Like, is there somebody that you either a hopeful becomes like a household name or that you would like buy stock in? You know, if this was a stock thing and like their stock is low right now and season's in, or maybe in 2 years, like their stock will be high. Is there anybody in particular that you have
I think well, before I get into that, I just want to say you've always been a Darius Slayton guy.
Always.
Slayton has really grown on me. I feel like Slayton's gonna have 1,000. I've been saying that too. Slayton's gonna have 1,000 yards.
I'm telling you,
no way. I'm like, he only has to average 59 yards a game to get 1,000. He's gonna get 1,000. He's gonna get a lot of one-on-one stuff. And Russ, Jameis, they throw the ball deep. And I think Slayton, he hasn't had a quarterback really be able to throw them. Now, granted, the line has to protect these guys, but I feel like they're going to have more chances deep. And I think Slayton could really benefit from a lot of one-on-ones. Well, the reason he grew on me is because he's always been a team guy. He took a pay cut. He's a leader. Like he's not flashy. He's like a Monty Tuber. He's not a flashy guy. He's not going to jump off the page at you. He just goes to work and does his job. And he's a leader in the locker room. He's a veteran now. He's been through. Monty too went through a lot of shitty years of the Giants too, and got a Super Bowl. And I'm hoping that happens for Darius Slayton because he could have jumped ship anytime, Cop, and he's always been here. If one guy wants to be a Giant, it's him. I'm pulling for him.
I was going to say what turned me. Well, I know we got some weirdos in here. What turned me on to Darius Slayton was the Tampa game that Daniel came in. If you remember, Darius was had a really good game. He was a rookie too at the time.
Yep.
And I really liked Ike Hilliard. Ike Hilliard was one of my favorite Giants of all time, which he played college ball at Florida, SEC receiver. Yep. And I knew Slayton going into the 2019 season was a guy that we drafted from Auburn, which was an SEC guy. And when I saw Slayton have that game, I just immediately thought of Ike Hilliard. And I said, holy shit, we've got Ike Hilliard again. Like this, and then when I found out that, he would play hurt, like there was times when the following year, I think it was in 2020, he had the ankle issue. I think that was the year and he kept going out there and playing. He just, to me, is a 9 to 5. Yep. I'm going to go do my job. I'm not going to cause any issues off the field, which I've always argued that Burris shooting his leg cost Eli's third ring.
Absolutely. We might have even won more.
In
09 we started 5-0 too. We literally could. Me too. Who was the lineman that was mad at him and said, was it Sean O'Hara? Who was the guy it was one of those guys said he cost us a dynasty. They really did. The Giants were set up a dynasty at that time. One of those guys said I forgot which one it was.
I think it was Ohio. I don't think it was.
It wasn't Deal. I think it was.
I think it was O'Hara. It could have been
one of those guys.
Snee. Could have been Snee. But anyways, I loved when I saw that from Darius Slayton. I said, and then that he played hurt, and then the pay cut one. That man. He could be OJ, and I'd say the glove don't fit. I mean, when you take a pay cut, when you take a pay cut, a dog, and
to stay in a bad team, mind you,
you are saying that you want to be here as a fan, dog. Why would I not want to support a guy that wants to be here? Like that to me is like I don't think there's ever like at the end of the day. A lot of us are just fans, and we're fans of a team owned by somebody, right? And the players are the characters to the show. Like they're to the whatever, if this is a sitcom, they're the characters in the show, right? And so at the end of the day, I want to root for people that actually care about the team that I care about, or they actually want to play. Yeah. And so to me, it's like, man, I want to see Darius Slayton succeed. I want to see him do well. Like he wants to play on the team that I apparently love. Like I'm not going to turn and look, I mean, he had some issues with some drops and stuff like that. But, there were times when like Evan Neal would just look like he just didn't care.
Right.
And he had so much talent. He'd always look good. And every training camp, everybody talk about, oh, this is Evan Ingram's year. And Evan Ingram this, Evan Ingram that. And it's like I'd watch the games and then get into the season. It's like, well, I'm not seeing that guy. I'm not seeing that guy everyone's talking about. So it's like he just didn't feel like he cared. Darren Waller, for example, which by the way, he's back. God. He just didn't seem like he cared. Like it's like I just don't.
Who was he? Was it Kelsey Plum? She messed his head up, man.
Yeah, but have you heard her? Like, no wonder.
Yeah,
like I'd leave her too.
Yeah,
like I mean, I will dabble in a little WNBA because actually, WNBA, they're kind of actually playing basketball a little bit. The NBA is a lot, not that they're not playing basketball. It's just, there's a certain way that they play now where it's WNBA.
I agree. Watching the couple of Fever games that I did, I'm actually like, you know what? They don't just jack up threes.
Yeah.
They like move the ball around. They drive, they pass the ball. It's not just catch a rebound, run and jack up three. I agree.
Yeah. The only thing you're missing is the dunk. That's the only thing you're missing. But like they're shooting the jump shot that isn't a 3-pointer. I mean, that's just what they do. But Plum is just, golly, she is so unlikable to me. And it's like I don't understand how that man even stayed a week with her. But he just didn't seem like he cared. And so when I get to Darius Slayton, it's like anytime if I'm frustrated with him, I just go back to remembering like, look, this dude's trying his ass off, whether it's good enough or not. Like he's trying, and I'm going to support that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm hopeful that he will have a good year. Hopefully, I actually think I'm going to give you somebody I'm thinking like could have a big year. For some reason, I'm big on our tight ends. Yeah. Like I think Theo could really pop off. A guy like Russ is going, a veteran quarterback is going to want to find his tight end.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and whether that
Malik Neighbors is going to take up a lot of attention on the outside, so Theo's going to be able to work underneath. Yeah,
I actually think Theo could really become like that household name for the Giants, and I do like Fedoni. I don't know where Bellinger is going to fall in all this.
I don't either.
I don't that part I don't quite understand. Maybe they just don't like him.
If the Giants got rid of him, he would give them the most cap relief. I think if they cut him, it'd be $3.5 million. They'd get in cap space. So he might make the most sense. You're probably not going to get rid of Manhertz because Manhertz is more of a blocking tight end. And Bellinger's kind of a tweener. You got Theo that's going to be more known for his offense. He's a big guy, runs a sub 4.6. He's got good hands. Love his athleticism. And like I said, I think Fedoni had a lot of injuries, but he's got a world of talent, and I definitely think that he could catch on. But to answer your question about who I think is low stock, that could really improve. There's a couple guys. I think Deonte Banks ever learns to get his head around, he's going to be a great corner. I really think that's all he's missing is just find the ball. But, and again, maybe it's just a honeymoon phase and it's August, so I'm optimistic and I'm hopeful. But just hearing the way Dable and, Carl Banks is there every day, the way they talk about Evan Neal, not complaining about moving to guard and doing his job, and he's working hard. I feel like Evan Neal is a guy that could really become very valuable to us. I look at a couple of examples. Eric Flowers was a disgraceful left tackle. For years, I screamed, move this guy to guard. They wouldn't do it. They left. He left. He went to Washington. He played left guard. He played well. Miami paid him $30 million. Justin Pugh, we drafted him out of Syracuse. We put him at right tackle. Wasn't a great right tackle. They moved him inside. He was a great guard. So I am very hopeful that Evan Neal is, it seems like he's got a really good attitude and he's embraced this challenge. There's no reason to think he can't beat out GVR, Greg Van Roten, for that guard on the right side. And I feel like he's a guy that I'm hopeful that Evan Neal we can get that talent that they saw. He's a 7th overall pick. I mean, you want to get something out of him. Yeah. So I'm glad that they moved him. That's the guy I'm going to buy low and sell high on is Evan Neal.
You think that's so far been Shane's worst draft pick?
It's up there
because of how high it was.
Yeah, he got him and Thibodeau in the same year, and you're thinking, wow, he killed it. Yeah, Thibodeau, like I said, he's kind of been up and down, but Neal, yeah, I think that's his biggest miss.
I'm with you on Neal. I'm not ready to give up on him. I'm really hoping that the guard thing works out. The training camp stuff is the training camp stuff. It's going to have to translate to the games, and we'll probably see this in preseason, as early as this weekend. I mean, it has to translate. I'm hopeful for Neal. And the thing about Neal too is like, I kind of think, and maybe I'm crazy when I say this, but it's almost like how you're talking about like red shirt. A lot of people have talked about red shirting Dart this year and not playing. It's almost like it would be cool if Neal could kind of just take a breather this year. The last few years have just been so, they looked like torture for Evan Neal.
Yeah.
Not only for himself, but the fan base just piling on to him and just giving him shit. And then he had the burger comment.
The burger flipper,
yeah, the burger flipper. Like it would almost just do him good if Van Roten could just play the spot, but they feel optimistic about Neal going forward, and could, just, I don't know, just, what I'm saying? It's like, you would just, if there was a way that you could just get him just to say, just chill for a little bit, let's just slow everything down. Let's figure it out. Again, I mean, I would love him to immediately be a starter and to get the value out of the pick in which we got there. But he's been another first-round draft pick that the Giants, just have failed, or has failed at this point. You'd like to see them get some type of return out of him by playing the guard spot. But I just kind of wish there was a way that he could just, have a role on this team, but not be so important like a tackle position, and the stresses that come with that. Yeah. And then also, let's be fair to Neal. Like maybe the quarterback play wasn't really all that good. And maybe the quarterback wasn't doing him any favors, in a lot of ways. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts, to on the football field. And so maybe having a guy like Russ, positivity, helping him, or some of the guys around him helping him can help guide him in the right direction, and to get him where we need him to be.
Yeah, I think Russ, the fact that Russ has played at such a high level, won a Super Bowl, obviously, he's a 10-time Pro Bowler. He's going to Canton.
Probably should be Russ multi-time. If they
I hope so. Yeah, but I think Russ's ability to the pre-snap reads, I think Russ is going to be a guy, much like Eli was. Like, I don't think Eli gets enough credit for audibling at the line of scrimmage and reading a defense and getting the blocker, the blocking scheme and audibling and getting the lineman in the correct spot and know who they're supposed to block. And you got that guy, or calling out a stunt. So you don't have these guys coming free off the edge. Like how many times did not just Daniel Jones, but any of our quarterback, you just saw a guy on a stunt cop. It's like two guys who go here and then here comes this guy. I'm like, when's the last time the Giants stopped a stunt? Or you'd have a corner blitzing off the edge. And it's just like, hey, go ahead, but here you go. Let's roll the red carpet, hit the quarterback, you know? But I think Russ, with his ability to read defenses, and this is another thing I say, and I don't think Eli gets enough credit for that either. Saquon Barkley, I felt like, had his best year. I know he didn't have the most rushing yards his rookie season. I felt like he had his best year with Eli there because of his ability to get the blocking right. If you look at 2019, Saquon had 4 100-yard games. 3 of them were when Eli Manning started. And Eli only started 4 games that year. But 3 of his 100-yard games were because it was with Eli under center. And I always felt like that's because Eli knew how to, read the defense and say, you're going here, and he would change the blocking scheme. I think Russ can definitely help Evan Neal in that aspect. I think he can help now it's not going to make a line a top 10 line, but I think if you have a guy that can get rid of the ball a little quicker, is more decisive with his throws, and doesn't hang on to it. I think Daniel Jones, like I said, his hesitancy hurt him a lot. And when you're getting knocked in your ass, you're going to be a little, shell shocked.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. But I think Russ, because he's been in the league so long and he's really nothing he hasn't seen, I think that really could help a guy like Evan Neal. So that's why I'm hopeful about the line, but it is still our biggest question.
No, the Daniel Jones, like, dog, the more and more I've looked at this and the more and more I've analyzed this and thought about this, instead of having that emotional reaction that I love to have, is
we all do. We're fans.
I think it's great that the Giants have Russ at quarterback because, it's like you said, he's a Super Bowl champion quarterback, and it's almost like let's just see what this looks like. Let's just see. Like, let's just see what this looks like so that we can, because I don't know how you feel, because again, I've looked at this roster. I've tried to figure out what's wrong with it. I have my concerns as I've brought them up in this. Like I said, if Neighbors gets hurt, I'm a little bit concerned about the totality of our receiving crew.
Not a lot of depth there. I agree.
Not a lot of depth. No. I'm hopeful that this pass rush can stay together. I'm interested to see what kind of linebacking play we get this year.
Yep.
I'm interested to see how some of these young guys do in the secondary. Right. I mean, we don't know for sure that it's going to be a unit that can play all together. I'm optimistic, but we'll see. The offensive line is another one that I'm big time concerned about. I'm positive about the future of the quarterback position, the running back position. There's some things that I'm happy with, and some things I'm just like, there's a question mark.
Yeah, absolutely.
The thing but I will say this: when I look at the roster, dog, and I say to myself, shit, if this is a 5-win team, or if this is a 4-win team, or we're picking in the top 5 again, something is so broken that we cannot see that I don't know how it ever really gets to a certain point of really, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Like, something is so inherently broken inside that we can't put the right pieces together to fix whatever the problem is. And I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, well, ownership needs to sell the team. That's something that everyone says. I mean, at the end of the day, the Maras family is probably going to own majority stake until we all are in the ground. So, I mean, nobody's giving up an NFL team, especially a team in New York anytime soon. So, but do you agree with me on that? It's like, man, if we're another top 5 draft pick, something is way broken inside of this team.
I completely agree, because again, we've been picking top 10 for how many years in a row outside of 2022, and how many coaches have we had, and coordinators and quarterbacks and linemen and wide receivers and GMs? How many have we gone through since 2017 when we've just been god awful? I mean, there was a stretch of, I think, from 2017 through 2022 until we won our first game. We were never above 500 at any time in any year. We were at 500 a couple of times, but never over it until we won in Tennessee in 2022.
Yes.
And that
felt like, which that game felt like winning that game again. The Titans were not who they are now at that time. They were,
they were defending AFC champions.
They were a good. Well, they weren't AFC champions.
I'm sorry, they were in the AFC championship game. My bad.
Yes, they were a good football team, and beating them meant something. That's why, like, I go back to if you beat the Commanders, it kind of means something if you beat them. Where it's like when we beat the Titans that first game in 2022, it meant something, and it made me think like, oh shit, we've actually got something good this year.
Yep.
Which we ended up going, obviously, and playing Philadelphia in the playoffs. Like, we actually won a playoff game that year, so we did have something. But to go back to, I just wanted to say, like, you're right, that 2022 game, like, that was a really, it was nice to start 1-0 too.
It was, but you're right. To be this bad for this long and have that constant turnover, there would be something inherently broken. But I'm hopeful that, this at this point, this really is Shane's team. I think the only two guys that remain from Gettleman, maybe there's Lawrence and Slayton. Maybe I'm missing another guy, but Andrew Thomas. So
Thomas, Slayton, Lawrence.
I don't know if there's another one. That's a Gettleman guy.
McFadden's not, is he?
Yeah, that was Shane's.
That was
Shane's first year. Yeah, Wandale is Shane's.
Yep.
All these linemen, our Runyon came in, Illuminar came in. He drafted Neal. He drafted Schmitz. He brought in Greg Van Roten. I don't think anybody's left except for those three guys. McKinney's gone. Barkley's gone, obviously.
Which is pretty wild that when you think about it, Darius Slayton is holding on.
I know he's made it all the way through.
It is pretty wild when you put it into context like that he's, Dex and Andrew are obviously centerpieces for both units where they're on, but Darius Slayton is holding on, and that's another thing you got to respect about him. Yeah. But you get what I'm saying, where it's like if they have a bad year this year, it would you would have to start saying, like, because everybody that's not anything to do with the Giants organization says, oh, Dable's a great coach. Dable is, man, he's super smart. He's this and that. And then, you look at Shane's draft. Matter of fact, when you looked at all the totality of the free agency and the draft picks, when it was all said and done, dog, I said, shit, I got nothing to complain about.
Right. Like I think Shane won a lot of people back this offseason.
Yeah, I would have been like, you know what, Shane, like, I would have done these moves too. Like, if you fire Shane, you'd have been firing me too, because, like, right. I agree with all this. This makes a lot of sense. Now, I will say, as good as our Dexter Lawrence is, like, we obviously have an issue at D tackle too. There seems to be an issue there, but we've got probably potentially one of the best nose tackles, D tackles in the league at that spot. So, but I just don't know what we do as an organization, as a fan base, if this ends up being a disastrous of year. I don't know what we do, dog, because
it's tough.
What do you do? I mean, like, at this point, like, I understand that last year Daniel Jones's head was the next on the chopping block. I got that. I understood that. Going into that year, I knew that it needed to be a successful year in order for him to maintain the job. I got it. Now, anytime the head gets chopped off, somebody's got to be next. And I kind of feel like the next one that could be on the block is Dable. And so, but I don't want that, dog. I don't want to see. I was looking at they had Tom Coughlin at training camp. I think he was last week. And I think I'm torn about that. I'm really torn about when I look at Tom Coughlin for multiple reasons. Number one, I think when the Giants let him go, they didn't really believe in their plan with McAdoo. Because because as soon as McAdoo did the benching of Eli, he lost the organization. Yeah. And he wasn't even, Donkey took him to the playoffs the first year that he was the coach. Took him to the playoffs. And then the very following year, he benches Eli, and then all of a sudden he's gone. He's out of here. And Giants had a rough year, no question about it. But my point being is, like, they didn't really believe in McAdoo to justify firing Tom Coughlin. Because if they would have believed in McAdoo, they would have maintained him at least 3-4 years. Like, you know what I'm saying? They would have said, this guy's the future, and we're going to hang on to him. But clearly, as soon as he did something poor or the team went south, they chopped his head off immediately. And so when I look at Tom Coughlin, I also, I know there was, I think it was 2013 or 14 that we started like 0-6.
Yeah, it was
Like really,
2013.
was it
It
2013?
was 2013 because I was in New Orleans and I remember we had won like 4 in a row, and then they played the Cowboys. And I remember the game I was out in New York, so I was waiting for it to come on, and there was like an overtime game, and I missed the first quarter. But I remember we started 0-6 and then won like 4 in a row, and we lost to Dallas. That kind of ended our season.
I remember that. I think they went 0-6. It was on a Thursday night against the Bears. I think it was the Bears that they went that they got the 0-6. And I remember my wife and I, baby doll, we were gonna drive to Florida the next day for a wedding, the next morning, and I was so pissed. I was so mad that I said, we're going to drive to Florida right after this game. And we did, because I wasn't going to go to sleep anyways. We drove 8+ hours on the road that night, just mattering hell, because the Giants were just terrible. 0-6. And I remember thinking, like, it's time for Tom Coughlin to go. Like, it was time for him to go. And I hate that I even thought like that looking back on it. I hate that I did that, because I looked at him like last week as he's at training camp, and I thought, man, that just didn't end the way it should have.
Agreed.
You think about and you look at Eli, that just didn't end the way it should have. Yeah. And there's so many Strahan's ending was perfect. Hollywood. Tiki Barber, that just didn't end the way it should have.
Right.
You see the pattern here that we're kind of like it just and I feel that way about Daniel. To me, it just didn't end the way it should have. Not that
they never gave him a chance. He had no chance to succeed here. Again, whatever his talent is, being on a bad team was going to do him no favors. He wasn't the type of guy that could just pick up an entire team. He's not Josh Allen. Sure. He needed some kind of, he got no help. But to your point about Coughlin, what pissed me off is 2015, Eli had his best statistical season ever. He had 35 touchdowns, 14 picks. OBJ is killing everybody. Our offense is really good, but our defense is shit. Eli threw for 350 yards and 6 touchdowns against New Orleans. We lose 52-49. I remember Landon Collins dropping an interception against the Patriots. We would have beat them. We ended up losing like 38-35 or whatever the hell it was, 37-35. Couldn't stop a nosebleed on defense. The next year, they fire Coughlin, they go out, they spend all that money on Janoris Jenkins, they spend it on Olivier Vernon, and they spend all the money on snacks. Why didn't Coughlin get an opportunity to coach that team? And I will say this until I die. I'll say this until the day I die. When Coughlin left, it took part of Eli's soul. Eli was not the same guy. He wasn't. He was getting near the end of his career, and the Giants were getting it, but it killed him. Yeah, it killed him.
Eli's swan song was 2016.
Yeah,
that was his. But dog, this is what I'm getting at, is that it's disrespectful, in my opinion, to move on from Coughlin if you're just going to move on from McAdoo so quickly. Yeah. And again, I'm not saying I was right there with the tiki torches. As when he benched Eli, saying, get him the hell out of here. How dare you? I was right there with, and like, hindsight's 2020. Like, I'm not saying that we should have just, we would be a different franchise if we kept McAdoo at coach. But my point being is like, we have just not done anything correctly as an organization since firing Tom Coughlin.
Agreed.
We have not done anything correctly. Nothing has been right. And it's so frustrating, because that's where I'm looking at where we are now. It's like, we feel like we've got the right GM. Everyone tells us we've got a great coach. Okay, we thought we had a franchise quarterback. We didn't. We moved on, and now we've drafted another one, right? And these guys get to say that this is their guy. And now we're kind of doing the Eli start thing again, where now instead of having Kurt Warner, we've got Russell Wilson, and this and that. Eli, it took him a few years, right, before he finally got his first Super Bowl, but nevertheless, he had a really nice team built around him. when it was all said and done. Really nice receivers. Like even without the Plaxico, Hakeem Nicks was a solid receiver. Steve Smith was great for these guys. Was great for him. We had some really nice tight ends. He had a little bit of run with Jeremy Shockey and Kevin Boss and whatnot. But the point being, dog, is that if we can't, we've had this string of coaches. I don't want to have this string of constant quarterbacks and all this and that. I don't want to become the Jets.
No,
I don't want to become the damn Jets. And Victor Cruz is another one, Franco.
Yep.
But the point being is, like, I just feel like if things don't go our way this year, dog, and again, I'm not even saying playoffs, but if things don't go our way, like, there is something that we cannot see visually that is wrong with this team. And I don't know how you feel. I don't know how, as a fan base, as content creators, we ever fix that at all. I don't know how it could ever happen.
Yeah, I agree. It's been a long, arduous road of ineptitude, without question. And you nailed it. I mean, you mentioned earlier, we have not really hit on first round picks.
Yeah.
When you're not hitting on your first round pick, you're going to suck. I mean, GMs, you're supposed to hit those picks. GMs make their money the third to the sixth round. That's when you get guys like, and Darius Slayton is a fifth round pick. So you're getting great value from Darius Slayton. You take a look at Micah McFadden. He's a fifth round pick. You're getting great value. Micah McFadden's really good for a fifth round pick. But when you can get those guys on top of not missing a top 10 pick, you're going to put something together. But if you're missing number 4 overall, number 6 overall, number 5 overall, and you're picking that high because your entire team sucks and you're trying to build it, but when you take that guy you think is going to be the cornerstone of your franchise in the top 5 and he's not, then you got to go and start over again. And you're trying to improve from there. And then you get knocked back a peg again because this guy doesn't pan out. And then you're trying to do it again. That's why the same teams, we see these patterns, same teams are always picking in the top 5. Yeah. They don't get any better because they keep missing. Cleveland's a perfect example. Cleveland missed how many years? Detroit missed how many years in a row, Cop, in the early 2000s, they take a wide receiver with their first pick.
I know.
Get them all wrong. Roy Williams, Charles Rogers, Calvin Johnson obviously worked out, but
he did work out, but he was also part of an 0-16 team.
Exactly. Yep. Good point.
He was, but and look, the Giants have had some bad luck with that. I mean, they wanted clearly Devontae Smith, and the Cowboys, Eagles,
they should have
screwed that up. I know. Well, yes, you're right. Should have been Michael Parsons. It probably should have been, but then they ended up going back and getting Tony, and clearly he was crazy. And
when we ran up and got DeAndre Baker in 2019, he was also
that's another one. Yeah. Well, you walked away that draft thinking like, oh man, we got 2 first rounders, and Baker, like, oh, I could see him being a good.
I loved him too. I thought he was going to be so good.
He didn't give up, if I remember correctly.
He gave up a touchdown his senior year at Georgia, or his last year at Georgia. I
don't think he gave up a touchdown his whole college career.
Maybe, yeah.
He was crazy.
So good. It was
really, really,
so
really
happy
crazy
when they got him.
I know. And that's okay, dog. But that's a point that we're making here is like, we have been down this road before where it's like, oh, things are making sense. Like things feel good. It feels like things. I mean, even after the 2022 season, when you get killed by Philly in the playoffs, you're thinking, oh, well, we won a playoff game. Like we're back now. We're feeling good now. We're optimistic. It's time to turn this corner. And we went straight back down to the bottom of the barrel immediately. And so it's like
40-0 in the first game. That woke us up.
Was that not just awful?
That was the worst.
And by the way, I'm glad you brought that up because that was against the Cowboys.
Yeah.
You want to talk about, and that was Dable too. Dable's first, that was Dable's second full year as the head coach. But golly, that would be, thinking of Washington week 1. You want to talk about nightmare start. That would be the nightmare start. Like that would be like, oh shit, honeymoon is really over.
Here we go again.
It's really, but hopefully maybe it's the Titans. like the Titans game in 2022. Maybe it's that, that surprise win, which looking back on it, I didn't think about it, but well, I mean, I saw it, but Saquon obviously was a big part of that win. I mean, he was a big part of that team in 2022. But, I just feel like, dog, as we kind of wrap this thing up, I just feel like, man, if we have a really bad year, I just don't know how, and I don't know where you even turn at this point. Now, obviously, if the team gets hurt and there's a lot of injuries, which that's another thing that the field, I don't know what to make of the field. I saw, did you see that there was like some soccer team or something?
Yes.
They came out and said, oh, this is the worst field could ever play on ever. It's like terrible. And I was like, wait a minute. Like, I keep hearing about this, and like this is still a conversation going on. I always loved Giant Stadium when it had the grass field. But why is this like, why is this even a thing? Like, why is this like, how much money do you possibly, they're like, I saw where, they were selling 10% of the Giants, and like Eli talked about potentially buying a stake in it, but it was, oh, he's too rich for my blood. How in the world can you own $1 billion franchise and the field is a mess?
Well, and then on top of that, the Jets play there too. So you have two owners that could chip in. They both play in that stadium.
But how can that?
Two owners that could do it.
But how could this? If it's causing potentially injuries, and you have professional athletes in multiple different sports saying this field is terrible, like we need to do something about this. Why isn't something done about it? Why are they not? I don't understand why I don't understand why this is even an issue. If I own $1 billion franchise, and hell, I had one or two players come to me and say this field is terrible, then I'm going to be out there Monday morning figuring out how to fix the damn field or make it to where it's not hurting my product that I put on the field. I don't understand why this is even a thing. But that, to me, again, if the team is bad and we suffer a lot of injuries and the field continues to be a dumpster fire, you've got to start looking at the front office and asking what is going on here, and why does this continue to be a thing?
Yep. Yeah. Unfortunately,
and how do you change that, dog?
You don't, because that becomes ownership at that point, making the wrong decisions. So it's hard. You can't really do anything. Ask the Commander fans. I mean, they had Daniel Snyder for years, and he sucked, and they get rid of him, and they're in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Right away, because they made the correct moves. They hired the correct coach. They drafted the right quarterback. They did right things, and it immediately turned around for them. And so I think that has a lot to do with it. When, like you said, something in the front office that needs to be changed, but probably won't, because you've seen everything underneath the front office change, and the results are exactly the same. So you can't keep blaming the quarterback or the coach or the offensive coordinator or the.
That's what I think that's what I was getting at, dog, is like, we've chopped off a couple quarterbacks' heads now. We've chopped off several coaches' heads. Going back to Coughlin. We obviously chopped off Jerry Reese's and Dave Gettleman. And Shane was borderline on.
Yeah, he was close.
How many general managers, how many coaches, how many quarterbacks does it take before the organization and the team become relevant again? How many times? Eventually, you can only pass blame so many times, and then when you have majority of the league saying, "Oh, Brian Daboll's a great coach. Brian Daboll's this. Brian Daboll's that," and then you've heard stuff about Shane and whatnot. And I want to bring this up before we go. I know the Giants are going to be on Hard Knocks again with the in-season thing.
Yeah, the NFC East.
They aired all of that stuff from the offseason last year. Obviously, they had to sign off on that and aired it. And obviously, it didn't make them look good at all.
Not.
They obviously didn't know for sure that Saquon was going to go do that. Yeah. But obviously, it didn't look good when you look back on it. I mean, at what point, and now we're getting ready to be on Hard Knocks again. And obviously, we'll be sharing that platform with the three other NFC East teams. But man, dog, I mean, I'm excited to see that dynamic of it, the in-season stuff, because
Yep.
I am interested to see, who's doing what's being said, if we can get some intel on that. But
Yep.
man, it's embarrassing the episode that they did, or the season that they did with the off season. Looking back on it, it was just so embarrassing. And at some
Yep.
point now, as a Giants fan, you're making content. I'm making content. It's like, here we go, putting on our clown makeup to go on YouTube to talk about a team that is just an absolute disaster.
Yep. Yep.
It's frustrating. Like,
especially when you keep getting embarrassed by your division rivals, that makes it even worse. The fact that we can't beat Dallas makes it even worse. Like, I want to fucking beat them so I can laugh at them for once. Go, you couldn't even beat the Giants. You're supposed to walk all over us. You can't even beat us. You guys are trash. It's new sheriff in town. But we don't get to do that. We haven't got to do that in years. I would love to knock. But just the fact that we beat Philadelphia, I think it was the last game of 2023, when we actually hurt some other guys and they pulled them out. And I just loved it, even though the game meant nothing to either team. Mm-hmm. Just the fact that we beat them, and I could say, we fucked you up. You had to wave the white flag. You gave up. You pulled your starters out. You weren't winning that game. And like, I had a chance to talk shit. And I like that because I hate them so much. And I hate Dallas so much. But when they're constantly beating your head in, it's like, well, I don't know what to say. Like, what can I say?
The Dallas thing is rough because we have had success against Washington.
Yes.
We have beaten Philly, and even games when we've lost to Philly, like it was a fingertip away.
Close, right.
Right there. Dallas, there's no, it's just.
We're not competitive with them.
Not competitive. Like, they just have our damn number. And it's like a nightmare scenario for me because I just absolutely can't stand the Cowboys.
Right.
I mean, the Cowboys. I mean, again, they all look the same. Just look at Mark.
Right.
They just have a look about them that you can just scream, oh, shit, there's a Cowboys fan. Stay the hell away from that guy. I mean, there's nothing good that can happen hanging out with a Cowboys fan.
Right.
But, they walk the same, they smell the same, they wear the same sneakers, like they have the same damn pattern, dog.
They have the same brain. They all share one brain.
They share the even, and it doesn't even matter if they like a different race, like one's a black guy, one's a white guy, like they just look the same. They're just the same person. Like they're just across all ethnicities and they're just the same damn person. But anyways, that's why, to me, the first 2 weeks, if you beat Washington, like everyone's like, oh, Washington's back there same old ways. But if you beat the Cowboys, then it's like, oh shit, like we've got something here. And then if you could win the first 2 games, and look, I don't concede any victory. It's funny. I'll say this, dog. Back in 2008, and I think maybe 2009 too, when I used to watch the games, I used to feel bad for other teams that had to play the Giants.
We used to run people over.
But do you know what I mean? Like, I remember a time when it was like, I feel bad that you have to play us because we're just.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it was 2008. One of those games when OC had 6 sacks and McNabb got sacked 12 times.
Yes.
One game they beat the shit out of Jay Cutler. They sacked him like 9 times and a half.
Yes, I remember I remember a time in my life. There was a time in my life when I didn't think the Giants would ever win a Super Bowl, and then they won a Super Bowl. And then there was a time in my life when I was like, I feel bad for other teams.
Yeah,
like
it was nice. It was nice to go in every week going, we're gonna win.
Yeah,
we're gonna win.
No, we're gonna win. Now, after the last decade, and really longer than that now, I'm to the point like I will never show mercy on any.
Yeah.
I will always want to whoop any team's ass for as long as I live until the day I die. I will never feel sorry for any other team that has to play the Giants because what I've experienced over the last several years.
It's been rough.
But but I say that because if you go 2-0, to me, the Chief game on Monday nights is a cherry on top.
Mm-hmm.
If you lost, you say, oh, okay, well, they were in the Super Bowl. for last few years, like no big, like it is what it is. We'll get there. But if you
Yep.
beat them, like it's like, oh my god, it's like a holy shit moment. Like
Yeah, that would be.
that would be a holy shit moment. If you start 3-0, you're like, oh my god, And so, to me, everyone has talked about the schedule, and to me, you can only look a month ahead of the schedule, anyways, because so much can change. You don't know if Justin Herbert's going to be the quarterback for the Chargers. He may get hurt week 1, or whatever. Jalen Hurts could get hurt, and the Eagles may not be the same. Like things can happen.
Yep, things happen all the time.
Somebody's going to go down big. First few weeks of the season. So it just is what that's just what the National Football League is. But my point being is like I just love the opening schedule because of how it stacks up. But anyways, dog, anything else you'd like to get off your chest before we wrap it up here?
No, I just always appreciate. I love talking football with you, man. Because we have been on this platform for a long time. We've had really good football.
I'm technically out of high school. You're technically going into high school.
Right.
Or YouTube.
Yeah. YouTube. Yeah, exactly. Pretty much. Yeah, exactly. You're 18, I'm 14. But yeah, listen, I always love to give you credit, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have this channel. And when I left for 5 years, because I was changing jobs and I moved and I just kind of got away from it, and I missed it at first, and then I just forgot about it. And then I think it was the beginning of 2014, like right before the season started, right when the season started, I went back to YouTube and you were still doing this. And I watched one of your videos. I'm like, I got to come back, man. Yeah. So I started because of you, and I came back because of you. And I don't think you get enough credit. I don't think you get the credit you deserve at all. I've never, you and I have had our battles. There's no question about that. But there's nobody, they can say whatever they want about you. Nobody can ever question your fandom or your passion for the Giants. Yeah. And I respect the shit out of that. And so that's why you'll always be one of my favorite guys, no matter what. You're like a little brother to me, kind of, a younger brother. I shouldn't say little. You're a younger brother. Yeah. I'm 50. You're gonna be 40. Well, you're close.
I'm gonna be 40 this year.
Yeah. So it's okay. So yeah, you're like a younger brother. I remember when you were a kid. Now you're a grown man. You got a beautiful family. I love you, buddy. I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
I personally like to fuck with you.
I know,
because I know you can handle
it. And I know how you are. So I just can handle it. I laugh a lot of times about this shit.
I know you can I know you're a big boy and you can handle it. And I'm happy for your success and what you've done. And like I've said about the A-Rod thing, like I was really fired up because when you see stuff like that, it gives you merit or evidence that there is some big guys that might be watching. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like and at the end of the day, like you start to, like, you're a Yankees fan, obviously, and you'll never be a Yankees player, but you can still be part of that organization in some capacity, and so to have someone legendary like Alex Rodriguez say, "Hey man, I watched your post game stuff." Like that's like, to me, it was never about making money on YouTube or anything like that. It just was to the point of like wanting to be seen as what I am, and that's a Giants fan. Like that to me is the importance of what made. Look, dude, it is, especially 2007. Like, it's scary to put yourself out there on social media. It's crazy to put yourself out there on to even put yourself out there and make videos in general. Like it's crazy to even. It takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of courage, because we live in a world of like, why are you doing that? Or why are you doing this? This is kind of silly. I will be honest. And I know I've said like I'm going away. I've had some theatrics to me, but I do feel myself losing my passion to do this. And some of it is because of my kids. Some of it is, because of my what I have here now. And it's like, it's not that I don't love the Giants the same. I do. I always will love the Giants, but passion to make the content or take the time to make the content. Like we've done 2 hours right here, and I'm happy to do the 2 hours because I like talking Giants football with you and I like making content for people, but it's like 2 hours that I didn't get to spend with my kids, and hang out with them. And my son just he just adores me. I mean, him and I he's all boy dog. I mean, he
Yep.
is just absolute all boy. And he starts kindergarten next. And it's funny, like, I'll tell you this quick thing. Like, I used to have, when I watched my kids play soccer or sports in general, my daughter will play basketball too. The I'm pretty calm before the game starts. And then as they're playing, and we're just talking about rec games, the
Yeah.
pizzle comes out in me, where I just lose control. And I'm not yelling at them. I'm just yelling at situations and this and that. And so it's like so much of what YouTube has done for me, and it's probably done the same for you. It's just helped me grow as a person, better or worse. It's helped me grow as a person and it's changed me in such a way where it's built confidence in me as a human being. And you and like you saying what you just said, and then other people that say, like, as I brought up Osmosis's comment, like it just makes you feel so good inside and helps you like, hey, this is my purpose. This is one of my purposes in life of reason why I was meant to be here, and like I think you probably feel that same way when you make your content and put yourself out there. And it's like, hey man, this is what was meant for you to be. And I know I'm going a little deep here, but my point being is like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it just to be able to connect with people, like you and I would have never met each other if it wasn't for YouTube and share this brotherhood that we have for one another. And this feeling, and I don't want to make this an ass kissing contest, but my point being is like I would have never found you or experienced any of your content or your thoughts or your opinions without YouTube. And that is the power in all this. And at the same vice versa, like you would have never found me. So it's my, I'm honored that a guy like you who makes the content that you made and has found this success that you have found, it means a lot to me that you say like, hey, I helped you get off the ground. Like it made you like, if I have a tree, you're one of my branches. I don't mean that in a bad way at all. It's like, that means a lot. That means a lot to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to me, like when you reach like a guy like A-Rod and you get to have that experience and feel the way you feel, like I'm glad to know, like, hey man, like I planted the seed,
you're at a part of that.
Yeah.
If I don't see your video, I don't A-Rod.
Exactly. So, and I don't take credit in that. I didn't call A-Rod and say, hey,
right.
The point being is like it's like if you win, well then I get to feel that too, and so that's a great thing. Like I'm not rooting against Bad Dog for anything, because like at the end of the day, like I want to see anybody that I motivated or do anything go on to succeed, because at the end of the day, it is all about the Giants and it is all about sharing that passion. And I think it's really cool, Bad Dog, when people share what they're passionate about. Like, I just think that's cool. Like, I mean, it's like at the end of the day, nobody's perfect, but we all feel a certain kind of way.
Yep.
We get a short period of time to live on this earth. And it's like, damn, man, like, what do you care about? Like, what do you care about? I was, my kids are 5 and 8, and I kind of look at them like, what do you care about? Like, what do you want to be? Like,
what do you want to do with your life?
What do you want to do with your life? Why the hell did I make you? It's like, so it's like, it's cool because like, man, it's just who you are, and it's embedded. And I say this all the time, and you probably feel the same way. If you cut me open, I will bleed Big Blue. Absolutely. There's no question about it. Like there's nothing. That's why, like, I can't die now, because our last games against the Cowboys and Eagles were losses. I can't go out with them. I have to. If I got hit by a train tomorrow, I'd find a way to live, because I can't go. The first thing I'd say is like, no, I can't. No, I can't die. You can't leave me here. I have to keep going. So, to me, like, I want the Strahan exit. You
Yeah,
know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
I want the Strahan X is what I want. But no, man, I appreciate you saying that. I have nothing but respect for you, dog, and it means a lot for you to say that. And you're an OG too. Like I would feel weird if I was the only OG still around. But I will say, like I said, man, the hours you put in is something crazy. I mean, I know you do a lot of work, you do a lot of different shows, and I can see myself like I can see it a little bit slipping away from me. And
Yep.
all I can really promise, those that subscribe to me, like just another year, like, and I'm kind of 1 year at a time right now, but I don't know if I could be 45 and still trash talking Mark Home. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know how long I could keep going with it, but I'm definitely hanging around. Did you see last thing? And I'll leave. Did you see the content creators series that the Giants brought to training camp?
I did. So I haven't watched it, but I saw
Yeah, I
they
haven't
picked
watched it.
it
Yeah,
on Twitter. And what I loved about it was how many people like on Twitter like, who the fuck are these guys?
yeah,
Where's the cop pistols? Where's the bad dogs? Where are the real Giants content creators? Where are
yeah,
those guys? Who are these people? These aren't the content. And they're just like, that's how out of touch the New York Giants are with their fan base.
yeah.
But they don't know the real content creators.
I thought about that, dog, and I kept thinking to myself, like, man, if that could be me, or if I could be a part of that, man, that to me would be that'd be the Super Bowl. Like,
Right.
if you could get to a point where it's like, hey, the Giants have recognized your work on YouTube, kind of like you were talking about A-Rod. They've recognized your work and they want you to come be a part of training camp, or they want to be part of some kind of content creator series. Dude, that would be like
Right.
that would be the Strahan exit for me. It's like you wouldn't be able to get anything better than that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So, I hope that one day as you go on that you get to be a part of something like that. Because like, if you're going to make the content and put yourself out there, you're not doing it because of some, Instagram thing. It's like, man, this is what you believe in and this is what you
Right.
do. And so it's like, man, when I look at all the content, there's some content creators I don't like, but there's others that I think I'm like, man, they deserve to be part of it. Entertainers, one of the like he should be part of some of
Yep.
that. There's other guys too that I feel that way about. But it would be cool to see content creators that have made content before in that capacity be able to have some of that spotlight,
Right.
with the team before the team kicks off their year, kind of thing. That
Yep.
would be
I
cool.
agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But do you want to? Obviously, you're on every platform: Instagram,
Instagram
Twitter,
and Twitter. Yeah. No Facebook,
Bad
no
Dog
TikTok.
Sports. I mean,
Yep.
everybody in here probably already knows your ass. I mean, who am I kidding? I mean, like everybody knows the dog. Everybody's got their eyes on Bad Dog. So,
Right.
anything else you want to plug?
No, I'm just like I said. I'm glad you
You got
texted
a
me
book
and
you're
like I
selling or
said,
anything like that? Or
we
are you
what's
making a
that?
book? Are you?
No, no, not yet. No book. One of these days, maybe we'll do the book tour, but no, not anytime soon. No, man, we have to do this more often, dude. We
Yeah,
have to do this like in the season because you're talking about we'll only do like an hour. There's no way you and I can
I
get
know
all
it's
this
so
in an
hard.
hour. It's
It's
impossible.
so hard.
So
2 hours went by like nothing.
I
I
did.
really wish there was a way that we could get a lot of giant content creators together and do one big kind of like mega show before the season. I know that's really hard to do, but that to me that's something that would be a lot of fun to be able to create
Yeah.
and to be a part of maybe in the future. But yeah, man, I enjoy we do need to do more. Bones said tailgate. I need to get my ass up to a game this season. I really do need to make that happen. I don't know. When's the last road game you've been to, dog?
I've only been in one road game in my life. It
You're
was
like,
1986. We went to RFK.
I
That
don't
was
know
it.
why. I just like road games. I guess it's because I just like to shit talk so damn much. But I like going to road games a little bit more than I do home games. Home games just feel too damn easy to me.
I actually was going to go to, we're planning on going to Buffalo on Saturday, But because my in-laws are Bills fans, but they say we weren't spending the night. So like, man, I don't want to get up at 5 o'clock because Buffalo's a long ways away. Like New York is a really big state when you're going left to right. And I'm pretty much on the Vermont-Massachusetts border. And Buffalo's all the way across the state. So it's a good 4.5, 5 hours. So like we'd have to get up at like 5 a.m. And then they wanted to drive back the same night. I'm like, I'm not doing that in one day. And then they change their mind. And I'd already made plans. I mean, I have to, because I have such a schedule between my job and going to the gym and doing the shit on YouTube. Like I don't have a lot of time. So I have to plan my stuff out. And when they say we're not doing that, I'm like, all right, well, I plan something else. And they're like, well, we're going to spend the night Friday. I'm like, well, why didn't we say that to begin with?
Well, it's also, you've also got a kid. I mean,
yes, got a kid on top of it. Yeah.
That's another, like I see some of these content creators. It's like, well, they're doing so-and-so. I'm like, well, good. Because they ain't got any kids. Like, that's why it's, it's
dude,
like,
I say it all the time. I'm like, there's very few content creators that do like a lot of content that have a wife, a kid, a full-time job. I'm like, I keep all of those. Like, I'm like, I can't, there's some nights I'm done. Like I need to sleep. Like I don't sleep. And I'm like, I just need to sleep. Like I can't do why don't you do Yankee games? Why don't you this? Why don't you call the Knicks? I'm like, because if I called the Knicks, I would never see my kid. I get out of work at 4. I go to the gym. I come home and I eat. It's 7 o'clock. He goes to bed at 10. My wife goes to bed at the same time. So when they go to sleep, I come down here and do West Coast shit. That's why. If I was single and I was not, if I was single, no kids, and I was younger, I would do all that shit at 7 o'clock. But it just doesn't work for my schedule. It's just I'm just so busy all the time. But I'm thinking about November 2nd. This is the game that I've pegged to go to MetLife Stadium. They play the Niners. So I talked to my buddy DWG, went with me last time. And he's like, we got to go. I'm like, I haven't been there in a while. So, yeah, I got to get my ass to a game as well.
Yeah, I do too. I need to. I
met Bones the last time when I went last time. I met
Bones is great. Bones is great. He's as good as it gets. I mean, he really
him and Meet the Mets. I've tailgated
Meet the Mets. Meet the Mets is
great. He's a good dude.
Bones gave me the full when I went up there last time. My wife was pregnant, and he gave us the full jersey treatment. And he was fantastic. I mean, he was awesome. I love Bones. I love Mets. I love all the old guys. But when Bones,
that was really cool. That was really cool to me because they were part of the TTC, especially Mets, because Mets was there in 07 and 08.
Bones
when we started
to a phenomenal tailgate too.
Yeah, I mean, Mets was the one throwing a tailgate, and it was amazing.
Bones took me to a phenomenal tailgate, and just really made me feel great. And it's hard to go to games when you've got little ones and kids, and things like that. And so, and now that my kids have gotten out of the diaper stage and we're getting on to school, it's a little bit easier now to be able to leave.
Yeah, they're a little bit more independent.
It's kind of hard to tell your old lady, like, hey, honey, you mind taking care of the kids while I fly off to Jersey and have a good time?
Right. Right.
It's kind of, well, the Giants are 2-6. Why do you want to go? Well, I don't know. Have a good time. I'm just trying to have fun with my buddy Bones,
Yeah.
But anyway, it's like, it's have a couple kids, put them in the diaper stage, and have a wife that just looks at you funny,
Yeah.
And, expect to get on an airplane and see how that works out.
Right, exactly.
But I've got but anyways, but thanks again, dog, for coming on. I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody that came and watched and said nice things and hung out with us. We had a good little audience in here. Can't wait for the season to get started. We'll definitely have to do one in the season, dog. Absolutely. and make this happen. And man, just best of luck to your channel. Keep doing your thing, and we'll see how this year goes. And hopefully it's a good one for us, dog. It's like
we deserve it, Cop. We deserve it. We deserve a good year.
We deserve hell and back. To be competent. Just to have just to have some success so it can be a little bit more fun for us.
Yeah.
You know, it's so damn hard to get on YouTube when your team is 2-8 and try to be somewhat positive about the, about anything. It's like, Philly 500 is just looking at you and you're like, I really want to say something to him and make fun of him, but he's just sitting there looking at me, waiting for me to say something so he can laugh at me.
Yep.
And it's like, there's nobody I want to beat more than Mark Holmes' big ass this year. You know what I'm saying? There's nobody I want to beat more. Him and the rest of the Cowboy Nation and all that shit. I just want to beat them guys. So, anyways, dog, thank you for coming on, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys on down the road.
Absolutely.